Coming to you live from the Mariano Moreno Range, or Teniente Merino Range. Mountain range almost entirely covered in ice that emerges in the center of the southern Patagonian ice field. It's an undemarcated area of the disputed zone between Argentina and Chile. Neither of them want it. It's crazy. We are here today with episode number 43 of the PondCast, a weekly talk show where we go over stuff that happened in StarCraft and StarCraft 2 over the past week. I'm, of course, your host, not asleep. I almost said not awake, but that's not true. Not asleep. Yaku of Nizaku. And with me today is el que dibuja lienes a cambio de un poco de vino, like _VIP, and as always, we're being produced by Tenji Samochodem Kitori Majedenye na temat versi live action avatara Kuro 60 Squad Sasaki. How y'all doing?
What's up, Yaku? What's up? It's great to be here. Great to be back once again for another podcast. Again, a lot of news has come in. A lot of updates here, of course. Last week we did speak on EWC, and now we have a bunch of roster changes coming in, which did make plenty of sense. We did predict that coming into EWC there would be a bunch of pickups here, and that's exactly what we got this week. That's what we got.
Indeed, we do. A little bit lighter when it comes to the news, but still big news regardless when it comes to actually, all the roster changes and also some potential announcements for events down the line.
Yeah, exactly. First here, we do have Hero. Hero, of course, he was on Weibo Gaming for quite some time, but he has been teamless since then for, I want to say, over a month at this point. He's been teamless, but now he has joined a new team. He is now one with Twisted Minds.
Indeed, he is. And obviously, this makes a lot of sense. Hero as a Protoss player, he's always been a little bit twisted in his mind when it comes to strategies and stuff like that. This is a really big pickup for Twisted Mind. I'm not going to lie, though. When I first saw this tweet, the first thing that popped into my head, poor Classic. Classic, his contract ran up with Twisted Minds earlier this year, or I think towards the end of last year. So it wasn't, didn't recontract after that. Was looking for a team the entire time. EWC announcement, immediately Twisted Mind is like, yo, Hero. Another Protoss player. Let's get another Protoss player in here.
Let's go. Yeah, they replaced one Protoss with another, as you mentioned. And Classic currently is still teamless, unfortunately. I'm sure he will be one of those players that is going to be picked up. But regardless, congratulations to Hero. He does finally find a new home. He was one of those players that we were looking at almost guaranteed that he will find a new team. We were just curious as to who would pick him up. I think we were speculating he was one of the potential many pickups for Team Vitality, because we didn't know that they were going to be looking for a player as well. And we also got their announcement as well this week.
That we did. Another Protoss player. And I picked up here, this time for Team Vitality, Zaun did join. This makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Zaun was one of the only players who actually participated in the qualifiers for Bellum Zagora, the Asia qualifiers for Bellum Zagora. And, it was either Team Vitality saw that and decided, all right, Zaun, we like your commitment, so we're signing you, or more likely, Zaun already had something. There was already something being discussed between Zaun and Team Vitality beforehand, and so Zaun felt comfortable enough to, actually participate in those qualifiers.
I thought you were going to say that clearly they just listened to the podcast, because I'm pretty sure Zaun was going to ask you,
yeah. I was actually going to ask you if we can take responsibility for this, or we can claim responsibility for this, because when Team Vitality first announced, we're looking for a third player after Sola started his villain arc, Zaun was one of the guys who we floated for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I think he was our number one pick. I know we were teasing the idea of maybe a classic or a creator, but I think we were very on board with Zaun.
Yeah. Was that before Classic left Twisted Minds? I know for a fact that it was before Weibo Gaming dropped the StarCraft 2 roster.
Yeah, I think it was before the Weibo game, but I think it was after Classic was free from Twisted Minds.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, with that, congratulations to Zhang. Shout out and congratulations to Team Vitality as well. Zhang, he's a very big pickup, and I mean, he is straight up one of the best
A
Protoss
lot of
players
potential.
in the world right now. He has a lot of potential. He is looking really strong currently, so that is a massive, massive pickup. And yeah, I mean, he's looking to, as you said, make a deep run in Stars Agora, also make a deep run in EWC as well. So best of luck to Zhang. But he was not the only announced player to join a new team this week. Well, not the only other one.
Yeah, just a couple hours ago. Well, I say a couple hours ago. It was like yesterday. Days. What are days if not hours, right? So, yeah, yesterday, Weibo Gaming did announce after basically dropping the StarCraft 2 roster after Oliveira retired. Did notice that? Wait a minute. I guess StarCraft 2 is going to be in EWC after all, and yeah, did end up picking specifically Shin, but I would be very surprised if this is where they stop.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big pickup here. Shin, I would say, is maybe the strongest Korean Zerg player now, especially with Dark retiring, Dark going to the military. It's definitely an argument between Shin and Rogue. I think they both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses. But yeah, that is a big pickup here for Weibo Gaming.
I noticed you left out Solar in that discussion. The villain arc continues.
Well, he's on his redemption arc, okay, but he's still redeeming himself. Okay, still redeeming himself.
All right.
He's getting there, and yeah, we'll see how well or how. I mean, I'm sure Shin is going to be able to represent Weibo Gaming quite well here. And congratulations to Shin. Of course, Shin, he did announce that he left Gaming Gladiators not too long ago, so now he does get picked up. And this also is kind of is also going to be an interesting time just because now players are getting picked up. Now, EWC is on the horizon, but there are still a couple of key players that are still yet to be re-signed. We were mentioning them earlier here. One of them is Creator. Creator is another player that is very active at the moment who is still yet to join the team. Classic is the other one, as you did allude to, with Twisted Minds. Showtime still currently teamless as well. Spirit currently teamless as well. And Gumiho is the other big one.
Yeah, some of these names that you just mentioned, I had to do a double take because obviously Showtime specifically, I always have to be reminded that Showtime left Berlin International Gaming, or rather Berlin International Gaming dropped their StarCraft 2 roster just because it felt they were synonymous for just so long, right? It was when you think of Showtime, he's on big. He is big. And so it's even now, months after that announcement, months after that reveal, I still have to do a double take every time I'm reminded of that fact.
For sure. And we bring up these players because I almost want to say they're maybe even guaranteed to make it to EWC. I say guaranteed. Well, a lot of it probably comes down to the format because we don't know how big the event is going to be. We don't know how many players are going to be able to facilitate in that tournament.
We don't know how many they're going to be able to facilitate. We don't know what the qualifier situation is going to look like. We know for sure that it's not going to be a circuit. There's just no time to have a circuit at this point. So, yeah, if they're just going to do open qualifiers or if they're going to do regional qualifiers, and if so, how many slots per region and stuff like that. So, it's still definitely up in the air, but I'm sure once we get more information, we'll see a lot more signups at a much quicker pace.
100%, right? That's the big thing is that I'm sure a lot of teams are just waiting to see what are the chances are that some of these players would actually make it even into EWC. Like Hero, he's a sure thing, right? Like Hero, he is straight up like top. He is the best Protoss player in
open bracket qualifiers, only offline open bracket qualifiers, and Hero will 100% still make it in.
Exactly.
The tournament at the very least, and almost 100% to the playoffs.
Exactly. So there are some that are more sure things than others for sure, and yeah, we're just waiting to see those announced details. And once we do, I'm sure a lot of the players that we did mention will also find teams when it comes to competing in EWC and when it comes to being supported as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on that. Likewise, outside of just player roster changes, we do have some announced tournaments here. Of course, things were a little bit bleak when it came to, as you mentioned, we no longer have a circuit when it comes to SE2. But that doesn't stop us from hosting our own tournaments here. And we have confirmation that there is going to be another offline event in the Americas. There's going to be another Cheeseadelphia.
Yeah, that was one of our big concerns from last week after the announcement that EPT was dropping StarCraft 2, that we know that we're going to have a couple of European tournaments. We know that there are going to be a couple of Asian tournaments, but we weren't so sure of North America. Well, as it turns out, we weren't the only ones who were worried about that, as Joe, the organizer of Cheeseadelphia, very quickly after that announcement, made an announcement of his own. Cheeseadelphia going to be happening on June 14th this time.
Yeah, exactly. Not too far away at this in the middle of the year. And again, it was Cheeseadelphia was also, I believe, the SE2 safe house, which is Zombie Grubs, which was her kind of like offline. I say offline, like pseudo offline events.
Like
I say pseudo offline.
Yeah, like an NA Home Story Cup or an NA LAN.
Yeah. Where the players were played online, but all the casters, they were offline. They were all, at a venue or at an Airbnb together themselves, right? So yeah, I know they're thinking and they're in talks regarding a Safe House number 2. So there's going to be another event in the NA region as well. Mm-hmm. But this event is more open to the public, right? This event is going to be they facilitate for audiences. It's open signups as well. So if you're in the Americas region, then do check your calendars and potentially come down to Cheeseadelphia.
Yeah, which is right now the only Cheeseadelphia event planned for this year. Or I say that the way Joe has phrased this, it seems like this is the only one that he is. Yeah, this is the only Cheeseadelphia that's going to be happening this year. So he is looking to make up for that a little bit by looking for sponsors and to try to have a little bit of a bigger event, since we're only going to have one. But yeah, that's still in the works, and anybody who is looking to anybody in that area who might be interested in working together with Cheeseadelphia, do give him a call, or more specifically, do reach out to him on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, we spoke about this last time. We spoke about this last week when it comes to events at the moment and the current environment that is StarCraft 2. And right now is the time to kind of like show your passion and show up for stuff like this. So if you happen to be in the region, if you've maybe never gone to an offline event before, if you're in the Americas, and if you've always wanted to, but maybe, there's been something that's kind of like keeping you back from doing it, or maybe a little bit anxious or anxiety about going to an offline event and, meeting new people, but still people that are in love with StarCraft or passionate about StarCraft, then I feel like this is the time to go, show your support. If there is more interest, if there is more viewership, more live audience, more live attendees as well, I'm sure that will incentivize a future Cheeseadelphia in 2025 or 2026.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of crowdfunded tournaments, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, speaking of support, looking at chat, Milk brings up a good point. Like, when are we signing Gumiho?
True. Oh, no. Well, we'll make that a new tier on the Patreon. That's what we'll do. Not
you,
like
the viewer, can pay Gumiho's salary.
True. Not like this.
That's kind of a funny idea. I'm almost tempted to do it.
We should.
But that leads us into our next big crowdfunded tournament. That is going to be the Pigsty Festival number 6. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, it would come full circle, right, to when Crank was first crowdfunded.
True. Not wrong. But yeah, Pigsty Festival number 6. We did speak earlier how the event itself was already funded from the previous Pigsty, so the crowdfunding was enough to be able to support another Pigsty. And I'm sure after this, they're going to have the same funding scheme, and we could potentially fund a Pigsty Festival number 7 as well. I know the Pig is very much so passionate about hosting these events more regularly and having something for all these players to compete in.
Yeah. And yeah, like you mentioned, it's going to have a very simple format, and it's going to be, again, a fully crowd-funded tournament. So we are right now at a 6,000 prize pool minimum for Pigsty Festival number 6, but obviously as the event goes on and as more and more support is given to the tournament itself, that's going to be boosted. And if it goes over a certain threshold. I think it's typically what. I don't claim to know specifically, but I think usually it's like 15,000 or something like that. Any additional funding afterwards is just going to go towards the next tournament that happens to try to ensure that we have. This is a bit more of a consistent thing from Pig's end.
Yeah, exactly. So do mark your calendars again and do tune in and show your support for the next Pigsty Festival. It's going to be exciting times. I know that I think he wanted to, this is a little bit soon compared to the previous one. He doesn't plan on hosting them this regularly. He did say that the only reason why is because he's going to be going on a vacation. He's going to be traveling. So that's like on the horizon. So he didn't want to delay like the next
basically
Pigsty
right
too
after
long.
Pigsty 6 is when it's going to happen. Is what he said.
Yeah. Basically, as soon as it finishes, he's gonna hop on a plane. He's gonna be casting from the airport.
He's looking to escape those cold Sydney winters. Oh wait, is it's Sydney, right?
Yeah, it's Sydney.
Melbourne. Yeah.
No,
he's looking to escape those cold Sydney winters.
There you go. So, shout out to Pig and shout out to the Pigsty Festival number 6. Again, do tune in. That leads us into our next big bit of news, and I say big because it was an announcement that we were speculating of, I should say, because one of the big questions that we had last week about ESL pulling back and no longer supporting a circuit, but also no longer supporting patches or map rotations was how will things look like moving forward from here? Is the Balance Council going to step in and take that role? The answer to that apparently is no. The people behind TLMC, the Team Liquid Map Contest, are looking to step up a little bit here and actually provide that and actually have contacts with those at Blizzard to help when it comes to the new map rotations.
Yeah, and this is something that I'm definitely pretty optimistic for, if I'm being honest. I think one of the things that I appreciate most here from TLMC kind of facilitating the map pool rotations is that they're already in their first announcement. This is way more transparent than anything we've gotten in the past, whether it was when Blizzard handled it or when ESL handled it. They have provided a sort of provisional map pool. This is not going to be the final thing that's going to make it into the ladder or into the competitive map pool. They are still looking for a bit more feedback in that regard, but they are saying these are the 9 maps that we want to put in, and these are our reasons why. 3 of them is because they were the top 3 voted maps from the top 3 voted maps from the Team Liquid Map Contest. 3 of them were from a pro player poll, and then the final 3 were just based on Liquipedia statistics, how often they were played on in the past few competitive tournaments and competitive and professional events.
Yeah, so they explained that basically this is a provisional map pool. This is temporary. This is by no means confirmed. But they wanted to construct this just purely off of like numbers and statistics. They didn't want to have their own opinions or adjust anything yet. I say yet because from my understanding, they are reaching out to tournament organizers and they're reaching out to players and they're reaching out for feedback regarding what a map pool should look like. And I think it's very good that they do so because even though it's really cool that they brought these 9 maps together, what I will say is that the way in which that these maps were selected or that they were chosen, it doesn't really, they don't factor into account each other, right? Like it's very much so like, okay, these are the top 3 voted maps, and then the most played maps, but that doesn't necessarily create a cohesive map pool yet. My biggest concern... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you're looking purely at, if you're going to be looking purely at like polls and votes and stuff like that, a lot of the time these maps are voted on individually by their own merits. Whereas if that happens too often, the big risk that often takes place is that you end up with a map pool that's like way too samey, where every map is looking too similar, or you go the other direction and, like you said, there's no cohesion in the map pool itself. Like sometimes what's healthy, if there has been a meta that has dominated for a very, very long time that makes games just very, very defensive, for example, something that you want to do is have a map pool that encourages a lot more aggressive play or a lot more active active play, and vice versa. And if you're looking at maps individually as opposed to the overall pool, that that is a very big risk that you're taking. Is that what's my train of thought on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what I would say regarding a map pool is it's a little bit bigger picture, right? It's what all the maps
Yeah.
together kind of create, right? Not looking at the maps individually. What I'm getting at specifically is that ideally in a map pool you have maybe a set amount of macro maps, right? A set amount of rush maps, a set amount of more standard maps, maybe a bit of a quirky map here and there, and you bring it all together, and then you get your map pool, right? Right now, the way that these maps were chosen doesn't really take any of that into account, right? It's very much more independent.
Yeah, that was very much what you were describing. Was very much kind of the Blizzard style of doing things way back in the day, where every time there was a new announcement, okay, next season there's a new map pool. They would say, these are our 2 quirky maps. These are our 2 macro maps. These are our 2 rush maps, and so on. And then here's a 1 wildcard map. Back then the map pool was 7 maps instead of 9.
Yeah, well, there was just a little bit more structure, right? A little bit more structure. So I do think that that's something important to bear in mind, and I think they're aware of that as well. Like those working at TLMC or working at TL. Again, that's why they're getting currently feedback for that and trying to again construct their more ideal map pool using the TLMC 20 maps. So I do wish them the best. So far, looking briefly at what maps they do have, I do think they do have a nice mix already. Just like even just doing it in this way, there are a couple of macro maps like I see Incorporeal, Maganatha, Togemak, and Torches. There are some smaller maps like Persephone, Ley Lines, Whistles of Gold, Ultra Love. So there is a nice mix already, but yeah, we'll see how they kind of mix it all together and how they construct it in the end. And I also appreciate that they have Last Fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually had to defend the choice of including Last Fantasy there, including a little note at the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, the problem, I always said this before, but the problem with Last Fantasy is it was the only 3-player map pick that was available for TLMC. But at the same time, I mean, clearly it came in number 1. Like clearly there is want and need.
It was number 1.
Exactly. Like, everyone wants this to come back, and I'm for it as well, 100%.
It's like even if it was voted just as a novelty, clearly it seems that we at least want novelty.
Exactly. Want to break the mold a little bit and, just have some more variety in the map pool itself. And hopefully things go well. This is the beginning of maybe branching out and having this become a little bit more normalized when it comes to having 3-player maps again and having more options in the next TLMC.
Maybe we'll have one that will actually allow me to fly my Medivacs.
When you said fly, I thought you were going to say, well, it will have some that, has a nearby goal base. I can fly my CC over it, Gangnam it up, you know what I'm saying? Este Yaku, papi, este Yaku. True.
I love gold.
So overall, I'm actually relatively satisfied with the maps that they've chosen here, but again, I'm sure there's room for refinement, room for improvement as well. I think the other thing that definitely can be talked about, like they're saying that based on the previous map pool, like they're using a similar structure in the sense that they're keeping 3 old maps. That I feel like the next question is, do we want to keep 3 old maps, especially if worst case scenario, we don't know when we can do this again. Do we have confirmation that we can regularly update the map pool, or is there a little bit of like ambiguity there? Because if we don't know if we're going to be able to do this again, like is it worth just revamping and getting 9 new maps instead of 6?
That's actually a really good point. I think I'm in favor of having the 3 old, 6 new structure, but when I'm thinking of that, right, I'm thinking mostly of back in the day where we had map pool rotations, I think 3 or even 4 times per year, right? So it made sense to have 3 maps from the previous map pool carry over and then 4 new maps on top of that. And then the next map pool, the 3 that were from the old pool, we can finally get rid of those, but also 3 from these 4 new maps we're gonna keep on, and then we're gonna have 4 on top of that. And it's like, yeah, that made a lot of sense when map pool rotations were a lot more regular. This time, I mean, we've had our current map pool for, I think, over a year at this point, close to a year at this point, and before that, it was also like, what, 8-9 months after the map pool before then. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, we have been like conditioned with EPT to have like annual map pools, right? Like sometimes even more than a year, but like at least like annual map pools has been the norm for the past couple of years.
Exactly. For that specific circuit, it's the same map pool the entire time, basically, after the World Championship. So 2023, it was after Katowice. 2024, it was after EWC. If I remember that correctly. The years, they're melding together, but yeah, it was basically at the end of every circuit was when they would announce new map pool, as opposed to beforehand when, you know, we had WCS and it was more of, okay, we have our WCS spring. After that, we have a new map pool. WCS summer, new map pool. WCS fall, don't want to adjust it too much because obviously BlizzCon is around the corner, but you know, after BlizzCon, we have a new map pool.
Yeah, it brings up a question, I guess, because as you talk about that, it's like, one, are we going to be able to do this again? And if we have the power to do so, how often do we want to do this? Because I'm not fond of the idea of having one map pool for the whole year. I'll be honest. Like I'm not. Yeah. Like it's what we were stuck with for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of people are used to it right now. But that doesn't mean that it was
freaking post-youth for so goddamn long.
True. But that doesn't mean that was the best way of doing things. Of course, I say that I'm pretty sure it's because we were limited because of the limited interaction that we had with Blizzard. But is that the case? I don't know. Maybe ESL they didn't want to have too much variance when it comes to maps.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it's hard to say. So yeah, it knowing the answer to that would probably impact the answer of like, do we get 9 new maps or not? Just because again, if we're gonna be stuck with this for a full year, then it would be nice, you know, to have just 9 fresh maps again. But if we can do this on a more regular basis, then yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, if we have to do it on an annual basis, then yeah, 9 makes sense. But I'm gonna be honest, I would, at the very least, hope for a biannual basis. Because what happens if you got 9 new maps, but 4 of them are post-youth?
No.
You get 3 vetoes.
So yeah, definitely things that are interesting to discuss and to think on as well. And again, you know, shout out to those, shout out to Wax. I know Wax, he's kind of leading the project on this as the head administrator of the TLMC. I know he's kind of leading the charge, and I know like he's trying to organize. And
I was gonna say he's like the de facto guy in charge of Team Liquid, right? I mean, I know Team Liquid, the organization, is still owned by Nazgul, but like the TL blogs and the TL forums, that's ruled by Wax Angel, right?
I don't think so at all. not at all, but sure.
He is. He's at the top of the forum. He has a server in his basement.
True. He is the head admin of TLMC.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah, he's the head admin of TLMC, and he's the head editor of the TL writing team.
I think so. I think that might be true. Yes. But yeah. So yeah, with that, just exciting news to come. But basically, I should emphasize, hey, that means new map pool before EWC. That's what I was most concerned by. I was really concerned we weren't going to get a new map pool before EWC, but thankfully we have confirmation. It's happening.
Yeah. Now we'll see what's going to happen when it comes to balance changes.
Oh, don't. I mean, I'll be honest.
We have one answer to one of our questions from last week is now answered. You know, TLMC is going to be taken over a little bit when it comes to map rotations, but yeah, the other question that we had alongside of that, when it comes to updates to the game, what about balance changes?
I think this gives me confidence, knowing that this is happening, knowing that that Blizzard have created contacts here with TLMC to actually update the map pool tells us that they probably most likely did the same thing with Balance, where they probably got in contact with the Balance team, with the Balance Council, I should say, to do the same thing. Like if they did it here, then I think we with confidence could probably assume that it happened there as well. Now, whether or not we get a patch before EWC, personally, once again, I hope so. I hope that there is going to be a patch before EWC. And this, again, this kind of, I would say, gives confidence that would happen. Not like 100%, but like now there's a higher chance, is what I will say than before, that would happen more so than otherwise, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
If heroes can do it, so can we.
Yeah, exactly.
Heroes of the Storm did not need a council, and they still put out balance updates. Like
Warcraft 3, they had their balance update, you know, and then they reached out to the community, and I would imagine that's happening as we speak as well. So, yeah, I would like to be optimistic, and I mean, not just optimistic, but this also kind of like further pushes that optimism a little bit more. So definitely good news on the horizon. Heading on over, that leads us into our next bit of news. A big patch was just released here for StarCraft Evolution.
Oh, is this the final one? Oh, right. This is an extension. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last week was 1.14.1. This week is 1.15. That didn't take very long.
It's a proper patch. It's a big boy patch.
Yeah.
As we get into this, a big shout out to Luis in the chat. Gab, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid of 81. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. And welcome one and all to the PondCast, where we do discuss the weekly news in StarCraft. And yes, this is a big patch here. I was shout out to some of those working on the patch itself. Apparently, they've been working on it for quite some time, and it's a pretty extensive one, is what I will say. Like up until now, we've had like these small little patches, but this is a big one.
Yeah, I gotta say, very extensive, and I'm honestly very surprised that it's coming this quickly. But yeah, it's cool to see regardless. So I suppose we'll go through them.
Yep, from the top, we have new maps. We already discussed some of these new maps previously when going over the SEL King of the Hill and some of the other SEL tournaments that were featuring these maps. But we have some new maps in rotation. We're going to be featuring Blue Storm, R Point, Death Valley, and Arkanoid.
Yeah, Arkanoid is the only one of these that I'm not too familiar with. But yeah, Blue Storm, that was one that we saw a little bit in previous tournaments. This is the one where we had that very infamous game between Euthermal and
Zardiant.
Yes, Zardiant,
yes.
who at the time didn't realize that workers don't trigger Widow Mines.
Yeah,
or not Widow Mines, but Spider Mines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the clip came from. Brutal. Yes, exactly. We have R Point. I don't know if you can zoom into it, Yaku, but R Point is actually a really quirky one. I haven't seen it fully taken place yet, but R Point is a 4-player spawn map. But if you look at the center of the map, there are 4 bases. Those are elevated island bases for them, which is
so
crazy.
You get high ground.
Oh. Yeah.
Is that within tank range?
I believe so, but remember, you there's mischance as well. But
true, yeah. Well, no, you don't have mischance if it's high ground to high ground. It's only low ground to high ground.
Yeah.
What I mean is, if you siege a tank right at the edge of, say, this bottom left-hand base, can it hit the top left?
No, that's it's too far away. It's too...
That
would be crazy. That'd be oh my god. But yeah, there are these center island bases which I have yet to see taken, to be honest, just because you do have to like jump through some hoops to actually take those bases. But I also have casted like
because there are also flight blockers on there, right? Or there are some flight blockers on there.
Potentially. Yeah, like I haven't seen enough of the map itself to like fully engross myself in it, but like yeah, it's definitely quirky, and there's definitely what made me interested though is that concept, because we've had some islands bases before in StarCraft 2, but I don't know if we've ever had something like this where there are quote unquote islands in the middle of the map, quite like this.
Basically mountain bases.
Yeah.
We can't call them islands. They're more like mountains.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's quote unquote island, right? Like we're not really, but it's also still isolated from the rest of
It
the map in a way.
they're islands in the same way the Arctic is a desert.
Okay, sure. I mean, technically it is, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
I don't think the beer company would lie to me when they say that.
Mhm. There you go. So yeah, we have R Point, we have Death Valley. As we mentioned last time, Death Valley is a modern Brood War map, I believe,
Mm.
from this year's ASL.
This
So
year,
it's
okay.
yeah, it's
I thought it
definitely
was like a
weird.
year or two back, but
Yeah,
it is this
we
year.
yeah
We
we
confirmed that
confirmed
last
it.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting to say the least. Again, I haven't seen enough maps on this. Sorry, enough games on this map, but really cool to see some more modern maps come in. And then we have Arkanoid, which I have never casted on, and it is kind of like the new Monty Hall, where it's not really an island map, but it's a pseudo island map because there are rocks everywhere.
Now that you bring up Monty Hall, I gotta say one thing that I love about StarCraft Evolution maps.
Mhm.
They're the fact that so many of them are named after old arcade games.
Uh-huh.
You got Arkanoid, you got Monty Hall.
Yeah. I mean,
Fully
another map,
expecting Pac-Man,
Pac-Man.
I guess.
It's really showing your wide breadth of knowledge on arcade games with that one, Yaku.
Galaga.
Galaga. Uh-huh. Let's go.
Metal Slug.
Uh-huh. Beautiful.
I went to arcades at the tail end of arcade cabinet, like the tail end of when arcade cabinet games were a thing. Like nowadays, you go to an arcade nowadays, and it's all like gotcha games, and
Mhm.
yeah, there's basketball, which is still fun. But
Yeah. You can't forget about DDR, mate. DDR is gonna be there.
true.
Yeah.
There's still some DDR. There's like here in Asia, you have the rhythm game where it's like you bang
Yeah.
a drum.
I
Yeah.
am
Yeah,
still
that's the
so
thing as well.
jealous of Asia, America, and so on because the rhythm games never made it to Poland. Like we had stuff like the metals, like all the like the fighting games that we got small amounts, like single machines, but we got that. But rhythm games, they basically don't exist in Poland.
Well, yeah, they knew you guys got rhythm.
True. Oh my god. Yeah, calm down.
And Yaku was fired yet again.
The Poland's catching strays, mate. Jesus. Oh my god. That's Yaku. I don't think you can say that, by the way. Like, you of all people talking about rhythm. I'll be honest. God damn it. That's the Yaku. Jesus. So yeah, speaking of rhythm, so yeah, we got we got Arkanoid. Which is a map that I have yet to cast on, but it looks really exciting. Like it looks very animalistic. It looks crazy. I look forward to it.
Looks very animalistic. Yes.
Yes.
It looks like a map for after you've lost your mind. I agree. It's like this is what you see.
I would say the pattern is very interesting. It almost makes it feel like a dream catcher or something.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
I saw something different.
But yes, we have some new maps that are going to be introduced into the SCL map pool and tournament map pool in general. So look forward to that. But then we have the balance changes. And now we do have a bit of like a rationale as to the thought process coming into this, what their goals are, and what they wanted out of these changes, and how they approach it.
Yeah, they have a couple of major goals that they are looking to achieve with this balance patch, which first of all is to restrict Terran's overwhelming power. And they did say that they were a little bit split as to how much of the success of Terran right now can come down to the fact that it is a handful of Terran players who are doing very well, but also they're looking to see how much of that is also based on balance itself. So yeah, we're looking at a couple of nerfs coming in here. Not like strict nerfs, not like strict nerfs all around, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Just from the beginning here, we have our initial introduction here. So, as you will soon notice, these patch notes are very long. Patch 1.15 is possibly the biggest single patch since update to StarCraft Evolution since patch 1.5 last July. We did not expect to be making this many changes at once this late into the mod's lifespan, but careful observation of tournament results and metagame trends have revealed some concerning patterns. Number one, Terran players are performing very well recently, with both the Brood War and SE2 factions. While some of these come down to certain Terran players being of higher class, we also think that there is no clear, fair way for their opponents to come out ahead in a variety of army interactions. 2. Zerg players choosing to play as Brood War of their own volition have virtually vanished. 3. Protoss players are outright abandoning certain parts of the Brood War tech tree out of the belief that they are too difficult or inconvenient to use. Falls upon us to revisit the changes made by past iterations of the balance team and address these issues arising in modern competitive play. Though many changes in patch 1.15 share similar goals to those in previous patches, the ones here are grander in scope and magnitude.
Yes.
So
massive revamps, basically.
Yeah. So when it comes to some of their points, some of their things that they point out here, I will probably echo a lot of that. Something that we have seen in a lot of StarCraft Evolution tournaments recently is the strength of Terran. I think we spoke about it, and we spoke even about like the targeted nerfs to like stim timings and 2-on-1s and 3-Vaxes.
Medics.
Yes, medics, marines, stim, like all of that has been adjusted and nerfed over time. That is true, but it looks like they want to take a more drastic change, because even though these changes have happened, like nothing has really changed. And what I found personally is that because of the strength of these builds, StarCraft Evolution matches have been very short. They've been getting shorter. They've been getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Because like bam, you get your stim timing and the game, it just ends. It just like it's like we haven't been able to enjoy
and
like
it works
the mid
or it
game.
doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't been able to join the mid game or the late game too much recently, which is something that I've definitely observed over time, over the past couple of months. So that is something that, from what I am aware of, like the balance team is also aware of as well. They also took note of it. They also want to try to fix that if at all possible. The other thing about Zerg players, here is it's an issue in a way plaguing SE2 and StarCraft Evolution, right? There just aren't many Zerg players right now. And yeah, and as they're mentioning, the Zerg players that they do have are not really willing to play Brood War Zerg. Brood War Zerg right now, I would say, is considered to be, I mean, they're going to get into it, but it's considered to be quite weak at the moment. So whenever a Zerg player loses a match, they will just default to SE2 Zerg instead of Brood War Zerg. And the idea of them trying to balance the game by incentivizing players to play the Brood War side of things is really interesting to me, right? Like, basically what they're getting at is that if they can, because they can't patch Zerg, for example, if they can like patch Zerg by buffing Brood War Zerg and having players play that instead, to play that against, you know, Zerg and Terran and Protoss and stuff like that, then that's their goal, and then they succeed, right? That's something they can try and do. And yeah, it's ambitious, but I like it's a really interesting idea to try to quote unquote like fix the game that way by like, you know, doing what they can on their side of things.
It's
yeah,
the
it's
Valve
definitely interesting.
method of balance. Fight broken with broken.
Yeah, potentially. So we'll see what they're able to accomplish with that. The other thing with Protoss, I do agree. Right now, Protoss gameplay is very samey. It's almost in every matchup, it's like Dragoon Reaver. it's like Dragoon Reaver. Like, sometimes you get Storm, and I love it whenever I see like Charge Storm. We rarely get Sky Toss. Like, it feels like there are other avenues or other tech
one
paths.
game I can remember where we saw Darkons.
Yeah.
Darkon.
Exactly. So it's definitely like aspects of Brutal Protoss that aren't really being touched.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because it's like it feels like we're finally at a place where there's a lot of different styles we can go for with SC2 Protoss, but yeah, for Brute War Protoss, it is just Dragoon Reaver.
For sure. So yeah, because of that, I would say that a lot of the games have been getting a little bit more stale because it's been the same thing, and clearly the balance team is aware of that. They want to try to address that.
Yeah.
That goes into the first major
With
goal.
that, yeah.
Hmm?
And we kind of
Go
talked
ahead.
about this a little bit in what you were kind of explaining. It's like, yeah, they are looking to restrict the overwhelming power of Terran, specifically Brute War Terran, but they'll see what they can do about StarCraft 2 Terran as well. They are looking to reinvigorate Zerg, which, as you were saying, they are looking to just incentivize Zerg players to pick Brute War Zerg more by buffing Brute War Zerg as opposed to just nerfing SE2 Zerg or what have you. So, yeah, they are looking to reinvigorate Zerg in the words and also to restore Protos's full arsenal. Like you were saying, sometimes we see Storm, sometimes we see Carriers, sometimes we see some of these other things, but for the vast majority of the time, the team behind SEL has noticed that when playing Brute War, Protoss players overwhelmingly just pick Dragoon, Reaver. And so they are looking to more fully flesh out the rest of the tech tree that of Brute War Protoss to make it a little bit more enticing for people to play.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see if they can achieve those goals. We have some minor goals as well, which is ensure that all upgrade research entails an opportunity cost. This is more of like kind of like an outlook sort of thing. While we are, yeah, exactly. So they're going to be approaching that. Standardized research costs and times as well, which does make plenty of sense across a bunch of different upgrades, across different races, and resolve inconsistencies between the Brood War and SE2 races where appropriate as well.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah, specifically stating, while we want to avoid making the brutal races simply more like the SE2 races, we are trying to embrace their unique identities after all. A number of changes in this patch focus on eliminating unnecessary inconsistencies we discovered while examining our multiplayer balance data. One such instance is a sight range increase to the Brutal Overlord, which had a lower sight range than the SE2 Overlord. Another change is the quality.
And the range difference or the sight range difference, like there wasn't really a good reason for that to happen, or
exactly.
Like any balanced reason for that to happen. It was just in Brute War it was this way, in SE2 it's this way, and now finally they've kind of realized, there's no reason for it to be different, you know?
Exactly, right?
Similar thing with this other change that they're making, specifically to the command center of Brute War Terran. While you're no longer going to have orbital commands, so you're not going to be seeing mules dropped for Brute War Terran or anything like that, if you built the ComStat station, you don't have to go back to your CC, click on the ComStat station, and then scan. You can just directly hit your hotkey for the command center, and you can scan on the map. This is a change made for Spirit. Specifically,
true. That's why he never did it. Now we know. But yeah, as you're mentioning, like players would have to specifically hotkey their ComStat stations to scan, which is just crazy that they basically need an extra hotkey for that. So now there's a nice quality of life improvement there.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now we can dive into the changes themselves. First big change, and I would say this is a big one. In 1v1 games played on 4-player spawn SC Evo maps, the minimap will now display a ping at the cross spawn and one randomly chosen adjacent spawn at the start of the game. The opponent is guaranteed to be located at one of the pinged spawn locations. The ping will last 21 seconds, regardless of the game speed setting.
That's 21 real time. That's 21 real time settings as opposed to 21 in-game settings. Seconds.
Yes. 3-player spawn maps are unaffected. So basically, this is pretty huge.
This is pretty huge, and this is something that I remember. I believe Avex was the one who was kind of floating this idea a while ago, not just for SC Evo, but he was saying that, hey, a lot of players aren't really receptive to 4-player maps nowadays because of this uncertainty. This is potentially a compromise that can help out in that area to make it, to kind of get rid of some of that uncertainty, so it's not like a full gamble, but you still have that little you still have that little bit of like I don't want to say uncertainty again because I feel like I've said that word a lot and it's starting to
Randomness.
lose meaning. Randomness, yeah, there we go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you still have a little bit of that randomness that people, viewers specifically, like in a
Yes.
4-player map, and so yeah, I'm glad that is now being implemented in at least SC Evo. So shout out to Avex over there, and yeah, this is an interesting change to say the least. One that I'm all for.
Exactly. Like, in a way, it kind of makes 4-player spawn maps now, quote unquote, 3-player spawn maps, just because basically one of the possible locations is eliminated. So now you know for certain there's one location where your opponent is not. So it does make it easier and faster to scout your opponent and scout where they are. Someone might say, like, oh, then why not just make 3-player spawn maps? Well, I mean, a 4-player spawn map is still larger, still has more bases, still has that added, like, X factor of, like, different format, like potential ninja bases as well. Like the map itself,
it's
like
symmetrical.
Still.
You can split the map in half a lot easier compared to a 3-player spawn map.
True.
3-player spawn maps are always circles for some goddamn reason. You don't have to. You can make a square and have a triangle inside, or you can make a triangle as your map, but they're always circles for some reason. You can make a circle or a triangle in a square. Just saying.
There you go. And I agree with what you said, Yaku. It's a really good compromise and definitely exciting. And yeah, it does mean that cheese is now going to be less effective on a map like this, and we're able to get into a longer mid-game, ideally, on these 4-player small maps as well. So definitely a great change, and potentially, a future solution for future, StarCraft 2 maps that we might have 4-player small maps on. It's possible.
Blizzard, Wax, you're listening?
Yeah.
Implement this.
There you go.
And incentivize some 4-player maps in here. Also, I just realized that maybe the reason why 3-player maps are circles is because geometry and balance. Maybe. I was never good at math.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, that is a huge change coming in. I think what I just love that it almost feels like StarCraft Evolution are like what's the word that I'm looking for? Well, no, they're like the testing ground in a way where they're willing to try these more quirky things.
Pioneers.
Like before this,
like
before this, the big thing was of course the mischance, right? Introducing the mischance, right? Like that's a huge change that they introduced. The mineral change that they had recently as well, where they increased the amount of minerals in each of the bases.
Yeah, it helps that they're a mod, I suppose. So. They do have that freedom and they do have that flexibility to test things out, and also because of the fact not just that they're a mod, but also they're a mod that is with a very active and a little bit of a larger team. So if they do implement an experimental change and there is backlash against it, they can very quickly come up with a patch, come up with a quick fix or a hot fix patch to revert that change. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
to experiment because of
exactly they're willing to experiment, right? It's like because very much they might be a little more tentative about things because they do have a competitive scene and pro players that rely upon them, so they can't just mess around and just do crazy stuff at a whim. But it also means that because they're willing to do this, that now we have kind of an example to cite if we do want to try to do this in StarCraft 2, right? When it comes to the increased minerals, or when it comes to something like this, when it comes to having those pings to show you where players spawn in to reduce the RNG on 4-player spawn maps. Like, these are good things that now we will have examples of to cite if we do want to implement that in SC2 as well.
Yeah, which we do. We specifically do, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the rest of the people who aren't me.
For sure. All good things. Scrolling down, this leads us into the Terran changes. We have the increased Academy build time and decreased Stim Pack research time. This is definitely something that I did notice as well. The Academy finishes so quickly. So now it's going to be increased. This will impact the upgrades. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the build time is going to be increased, and this is going to. You may be thinking like, hold up, so they increased the academy build time, but they decreased the stim. Like, then what was the point? Well, overall, it still will take longer, but this will impact like medic timings, fire bats as well. Like, there's other uses for the academy, so increasing its time does affect all those other things as well.
Yeah. It's just again, big picture. Overall, they are looking to weaken sim timings, but they're also just looking to make it so that Bioterran can't just A move across the map overall. So, and this is part of this is part of that.
I love the first line of that explanation, by the way. If you look at it, we're not sure why the academy ever built this. It's like, we don't know what the hell happened here, but
it's like, yeah, that's just
it's just crazy.
No shade to Mike Morheim and the early StarCraft and Blue War devs, but you know.
It's yeah. I love it. I love
game
the
designers from back then. It's like, yeah, we don't know why this is a thing, so we're just gonna standardize it now.
Yeah, we're just gonna fix this, all right? We're just gonna. Yeah. So that's the first big change for Terran. The next change is to the Firebat. Movement is now suppressed when attacking from 0 to 0.5.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that this was a thing. That this was a thing previously for the Firebat, in that they had whatchamacallit. Movement suppression, I guess is what I'm.
Yeah. It's basically basically like
shell.
Yeah, basically like the micro ability of the Firebat was crazy, or is crazy,
Yep.
And looks like they're going to be reducing that. So now it is a little bit easier for units to surround and to catch the Firebat as it started stepping.
Yep, because if you think about it, the Hellbat kind of has a little bit, like, you can stutter step with the Hellbat in StarCraft 2, but because of that movement suppression, it's a lot more difficult. So again, this is something that if it was a thing for the Hellbat for balance reasons, really it should also be a thing for the Firebat for the same purpose.
Yeah. And again, like, this is also just because of the strength of like these stim and even Firebat timings as well, and also how difficult it is to catch these units and micro against them. So I would say this is again a positive change to said Firebat. So now there's a little bit more counterplay available. The next unit that's going to be adjusted here is going to be the Ghost. The Ghost movement speed has been decreased. Likewise, the Cloak research time has been increased. The Mobius reactor research cost has been decreased. We have increased ocular implants research cost by 25 minerals, 25 gas, and we have decreased the research time by 10 seconds as well.
Yeah, and similarly to the Firebat, this is a straight nerf when it comes to things like how quickly you can get the ghosts out, but also this is to make it so that you do have to be a little bit more careful engaging with the ghosts as opposed to just moving in, and then when things get tricky, stutter stepping out or microing out. So yeah, they're trying to encourage a bit more careful positioning, in their words. Personally, I'm just glad they didn't touch lockdown.
Yes. Let's go. So leave lockdown alone. That's all we want.
Yeah. Shut down all those tanks for like half a minute.
I think that's important that you bring that up, is the fact that so far, at least in these changes, and I think this is going to be the case moving forward as well, is that they don't necessarily nerf or adjust the spells too much. Like, the spells, like, they still hold a lot of power, for good reason, of course, but they are, of course, making other adjustments.
Getting to those spells that they want to make a little bit more difficult. So it's like on the higher skill, at the higher end of the skill scale, you're still going to be able to do all these crazy micro tricks. You're still going to be able to launch your spells. You're still going to be able to micro very well, but you're on a little bit of like the middle or the lower end. You do have to start being more careful. It's not just I click A to move him, A to make him, A to move him, and then if they start to die, A to move him back. You know.
For sure.
Which, for me specifically, that's gonna suck. But for overall on the competitive side, this is a good change. These are good changes.
Yeah. The next one is the medic. The medic that has been adjusted quite a lot, again, over the past couple of weeks or the past month, I would say.
It was the
But the medic,
only thing changed in last week's
it
extension
was,
patch.
it was. Like, it's like the medic is almost becoming the new bunker, like, build time, like, meme, you know, where they just keep tweaking with the medic, like, week after week
Bunker
after week
gets
after
buffed,
week.
bunker gets nerfed. Can't explain that.
Exactly. But the medic decreased movement speed from 2.8 to 2.5. So the movement speed has been decreased. Can no longer heal units inside a bunker or a
Yo,
drop ship.
I was not aware that was the thing that happened. It's if you have 2 units in a bunker and one of them is a medic and one of them is an injured marine, for instance, the medic will heal the marine that's in the bunker.
Yeah, something that was happening, but
which is something that if you think about it from like a lore or like a story perspective, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you want to start healing people in a hospital or in a safe space, as opposed to while they're still fighting. But from a balance perspective, this is a necessary change.
So to change that, so they increase the caduceus reactor.
Heal beam.
Resource cost. They increase the cost. They increase the research time. They increase restoration cost, and they decrease the restoration research time as well. So we do have some big changes here to the medic. I will say some of the more impactful ones are just its movement speed. So now it's going to be a little bit easier to try to focus down. On top of the other changes that were made, of course, when it comes to increasing its priority, for example, and decreasing its strength when it comes to healing. So a lot of changes coming in to the medic over time. If you are unfamiliar with what restoration is, it's so fascinating to see.
I'm glad that you caught on to that because when I think restoration, I think Druid in Warcraft. Or
you should.
Oh, okay.
Restoration is like cleanse. It's like a cleanse ability.
So like Malfurion in Heroes.
There you go. I guess
right.
I should work. But basically, it'd be crazy. Well, it'd be crazy seeing like TVT. So TVT, imagine like BC, like Skyturn versus Skyturn, like Brood War BC versus SC2 BC, but SC2 BC is BC with Raven, right? And Ravens, they come in disable, and mate, they come in, they disable all your BCs, bam. Restoration.
Cleanse.
You're the disable. Yeah.
You get rid of the debuffs. Yeah, exactly. Just like Malfurion.
Wait, seeing the counterplay. Seeing the counterplay between like Ravens and medics and TVT was beautiful to see. Like it's because I'm just so used to seeing like, oh, Ravens come in, they disable, and that's it. Like the unit does nothing. But seeing like a way to like clear the disable was crazy. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm so glad we'll never see restoration versus lockdown. At least not in SC Evolution. We might see it in Kung Fu Cup Evolution, but
true. But like it's just it creates a really interesting dynamic and interesting counterplay against like the traditional kind of like late game mech army that you typically have in TVT. So yeah, it's something that StarCraft 2 desperately needs. Not saying that they need medics and restoration, but they need an answer because, as you know, for over a year at this point, a lot of Terran players have been talking about how, you know, late game TVT and SC2 right now is cancerous because it's just BC Raven, like Sky Terran versus Sky Terran, and it's dominated by almost pure Raven because of the power of Interference Matrix and all of its like spells as well. And there hasn't been like a good answer to that to try to deal with that sort of like late game. Because a lot of Terrans don't really enjoy it. We don't get to see it too often, so that's the saving grace is with it doesn't happen too often, thanks to Clem, because he no longer plays DVT. but yeah, that's still a thing that's happening in StarCraft 2. Raven versus Raven.
Even though anti-armor missile no longer does damage, we still see a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. As that leads us into the Goliath. The Goliath model size increased by 12.5%. The Goliath is getting a little bit thicker here. This does basically mean so now they take up more surface area. So now there's now it takes a little bit more to kind of
bunch up a little bit.
Yeah, they take up more space, so now there's less room for them when they're when they're in the front of the army, for example, or start stepping forward. Increase radius as well. Decrease anti-ground attack period, which I believe means now they can start step faster. For the anti-ground attack at least. Decrease the anti-air attack period as well. Okay, so just all around. So now they're more
Slight nerf,
microable.
yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, well,
lower attack period means you attack more frequently.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Your
That's
attacks
the
are
time
shorter, but
between.
you still do the yeah. Or
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
not the attacks are shorter, but like the pause between
time.
attacks is shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. All right, yeah. This is buff.
Yeah. Yeah. And increase turn boosters anti-air attack range bonus from 2 to 3. Oh.
I'm trying
So,
to remember. I'm trying to remember if this was something that was adjusted a couple of patches ago, but I don't think that. But I think this is something that's new. So.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that's more of a newer one. But yes, interesting changes here. Again, like the increased model size, I would say is a bit of a nerf here, just because again they now take up more space overall. But the other changes do make it more microable, and it means that you can start to set more and all that good stuff.
I like this. Description as well. The Goliath has long been a unit that's pathetic in small numbers, but overwhelming when massed. I read that, and my first thought was, "God damn it, Spirit! God damn it, Piotr!"
True. God damn it, Spirit. The other change is the dropship. Dropship increase cost of the dropship to cost more gas and decrease the build time as well. Looks like initially it was a little bit cheaper just to make up for, I guess, just to make it a little bit more unique in that sense. But it says here that because dropships have been cheaper, now like mass dropship play is more common.
Yeah. The idea apparently is they made the dropship a bit cheaper just because they were slower and they didn't have medevac boost, or they didn't have a boost the same way that medevacs do. So it was a bit more of a risk to. Theoretically, it would be more of a risk to go for drop play with this sluggishness, but I think a lot of players have figured, I've kind of figured out a way to incorporate drop play despite the slower speed and the slower acceleration of the dropship. So yeah, they are going to be bringing the cost up a little bit more once again.
Yeah, so bring up the cost. Meanwhile, we do have a change to the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie has been made a little bit cheaper here.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. As I said, the Valkyrie is at a pretty good place. I mean, it's a little bit niche still. It's mostly used for anti-air, from what I understand, but doesn't have as much utility outside of that. So they figured, might as well make it cheaper to make it so that if you're being harassed by scouts or anything like that, you can get the Valkyrie out. But since it's not going to do much more beyond that, make it less of a investment to get Valkyries.
Valkyries are crazy. I mentioned I was talking about TVT earlier. I have to talk about TVT again. There's definitely some games out there that you need to experience Yakko. So TVTs like Sky Terran versus Sky Terran, seeing like massive Viking go up against like I'm talking like imagine like 20 Vikings, mate. Like 20 Vikings rocking up, and mate, you got like a hit squad of like 4 Valkyries. Like 2 volleys and everything explodes. It's crazy. like Valkyrie like anti-air is it can be crazy, and like it's just it was so fun to see, just because I feel like it's really mainly known for against Muta, right? Like against Muta play, like you get a couple of Valkyries and you're good to go. But like seeing it in TVT is definitely a sight to behold. I think who was it?
Damage?
Oh yeah, they do AoE. Yeah,
okay, all right then.
they're like
against freaking Sky Toss then.
Yeah, they're like better. They're better liberators.
They're better liberators. Yeah. I mean, liberators are more for their ground damage. So
true.
Valkyries don't shoot down, so
They don't. But Valkyries, they definitely have their place, and I would agree that so far they're well tuned. They're well tuned, and they're a good way to like stop that kind of like massing from happening. Up next is going to be the Battle Cruiser. Once again, a lot of changes. These changes are a little bit different though, because I think in the past, most of the changes did apply to their HP and their armor and their durability.
And
this is mainly
mobility as well.
And then and their mobility. This is mainly centralized around their damage output.
Yeah, right off the bat, increase attack damage from 27 to 36. But they're also having a bit of an increased attack period, so the actual rate of fire of the battle cruiser is going to be going down a little bit.
Exactly. Likewise, the cost has been adjusted as well. Slightly less minerals, but actually increased cost. So increased cost, so more minerals and more gas. Likewise, increased Yamato damage as well. So now we're doing more base damage, more Yamato damage. Likewise, increased damage against armored as well, and also increase the Yamato energy cost. So in general, it's doing more damage, but as you mentioned, the attack period is going to be a little bit higher. So that means the attack rate is lower here. So yeah, interesting changes here to the BC.
Yeah. Kind of moving away from the StarCraft 2 BC in that sense, right? Where StarCraft 2 BC, it's high rate of fire, low base damage. In this case, it's lower rate of fire, but higher base damage.
For sure. And looks like that was the final change here to the Terran. And again, a lot of changes, right? Like a lot of changes, a lot of units are being adjusted here from the side of the Terran. That leads us here into the Zerg changes.
Yeah. And the very first one, I love this. The drone, increase attack period from 1.5 to 1.54. They nerfed the drone.
Let's go.
Because the drone needed to be nerfed.
You know what this is? This is a hero buff. I've seen hero die to 12 pool drone pools in StarCraft Evolution one time too many. But it's happened. It's happened a decent amount of times.
It's happened precisely once, and that was the one time too many.
True. But 12 pool drone pools are terrifying. They're terrifying, and so this is going to be reducing
Jokes aside, it's actually something that is stronger than it has any right to be, so...
Yes. So that is going to be addressed, thankfully. Scrolling down, we have the Zergling. The attack period has been decreased from 0.6 to 0.57, and likewise decreased the adrenal glands attack speed bonus from 44% to 37%. This does mean... that the Zergling attacks more frequently. Does attack more frequently. That's also why they had to nerf the adrenal glands, because then it would just be a little bit too much. With the upgrade,
it would stack on top of the buff.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. But overall, this does mean that the Zergling does attack more frequently overall.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the Zergling will attack more frequently overall prior to researching adrenal glands, but after researching adrenal glands. Before this patch and after this patch, the late game Zergling is going to be about the same. It's the early and the mid game Zergling that's going to be buffed a bit more.
Yes, correct. Likewise, the Hydra is also going to be adjusted here. Likewise, decrease attack period, so now it does attack more frequently. Decrease the cost of muscular augments alongside the cost of groove spines as well. Going into the explanation here, Brood War Zerg's lack of strength stems entirely from their core units. We've spoken about this before, but again, when it comes to Brood War Zerg, there's no Roche, there's no Baneling, there's no Queens. Like, they're heavily reliant on Ling Hydra in the early to mid game in all matchups. And they spoke about trying to revamp this, so they're intentionally trying to buff said core units here to buff Zerg as a whole.
I was going to ask initially, like, well, if the Hydra list is weak, then why not make it cheaper? But then I remembered, like you said, Queens and Brute War are a little bit different. You don't have injects for Brute War Zerg, so it doesn't matter if the Hydras are cheaper. You're still limited to that 3 larvae at a time.
Yeah, for sure. So these are going to be
speed. It's in this case, it's something that you either want more Hydras quicker, which just because of the mechanics of Brute War Zerg isn't possible. So the other alternative to that is just make the Hydra stronger.
Yeah. So they are going to be stronger here. Scrolling down, we do have the Defiler. The Defiler has been adjusted as well. Decrease the metasynaptic node research costs, so it's going to be cheaper research costs here for the upgrade for the Defiler. Overlords had increased. We mentioned this before, how apparently the Overlord just saw it just saw less than the SC2 Overlord, which is
For no
doesn't
good
make any
reason.
sense.
Yeah, it was just they ported over the stats from Brute War into this, and then they were like, wait a minute, something's not right. For some reason, the Brute War, you know what it is? It's because the Brute War Overlord is older. The eyesight went down.
True.
Over time, you know?
We need to get them glasses.
Yeah. Or LASIK.
Or LASIK, yes.
Or we need to, like, wipe out that, like, glaucoma. There we go.
There you go.
You wipe it out. You don't wipe it out. You don't wipe out glaucoma.
I don't know how that works. I'll be honest.
They do something. They do something to your eye.
They also increase the antennae research cost. Alongside, they decrease its time and they decrease its sight range bonus as well. I believe that's just basically over range or vision here.
Yeah.
Overlords.
Which once again makes it the same as StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2. Whatchamacallit, Overlords. So may as well.
Scrolling down to the Queen, we got one more change to one final unit here. We increase the ensnare research cost from 50-50 to 100-100. Likewise, they increase the research time alongside it as well, and they decrease the research time of the gamete meiosis as well. So it looks like the Queen is going to be... I will say that ensnare and the value of the Queen is quite high when it comes to Brood War Zerg, and is quite strong. And here they are going to be nerfing a little bit here. They're going to be delaying ensnare and also increasing its costs as well.
I think we've said a couple of times that ensnare is like a crazy quicker version of fungal. And the only reason why it wasn't imbalanced is because the rest of Zerg was so weak that it couldn't really take advantage of ensnare. But now that the other Zerg units are getting a buff and they are becoming stronger, they are worried about ensnare becoming too strong and ensnare being abused. So they are going to be nerfing that quite a bit.
Yes. Because that is a big like power spike moment for Brood War Zerg, I feel. It's like your Queen timings and your ensnare timings as well. But those are going to be the final changes here to Zerg. That leads us into Protoss. Protoss increased HP on the Zealot by 10 and decreased shields by 5.
You know what it is? It's all that power walking.
True.
It develops your muscles. You don't need shield as much when you're rock hard already.
What?
When your muscles are hard.
Yeah, the muscles. Yeah.
You don't need a shield.
It's very hard. Yeah. Very hard. They're referring to Zealots trying to dive into tank lines and try to break tank lines as well. Of course, they don't have the same charges as the 2 Zealots, so to help out with that, they have increased their overall HP. In general, this is so they're going to have increased HP to be able to tank those shots and actually get on top of those, ideally those tank lines or whatever it is they're moving into. Yeah,
they also mentioned the Purification over here. Typically from Disruptor that deals 100 damage. In this case, Zealots are going to be able to survive the initial Purification Nova shot, and we'll still be able to get on top of their targets and deal a little bit of damage potentially.
Yeah, that's PvP. A big change for. Yeah, that's a big change for PvP. For Disruptor not to be able to one shot a Zealot, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Yeah. Damn. Okay. Meanwhile, we do have a change to the High Templar as well.
No, I was going to say, it also means that you have to be a bit more careful with your Purification Novas now.
True.
You can't leave them too open or too far forward. Well, with your Disruptors now.
For sure. Next change here is increased hallucination research cost. I mean, we've seen a lot of these increased costs. I think this goes along the line of like them trying to standardize some of the prices here, some of these upgrades. Likewise, decrease the research time from 80 seconds to 50. Likewise, they also decrease the Sonic Storm CP initial delay. This is delay between the first frame of Sonic Storm animation and the first instance of damage inflicted.
Yeah, so that's like the time it takes when you cast the ability and for it to actually land.
Okay. And I would imagine this is also just to make this a little bit more powerful, a little bit more viable. We spoke earlier how Dragoon Reaver was like dominating the meta. So now they're trying to increase the value here of the High Templar and make Storm that much more effective to use.
Hmm. Which I'm all for. I love Root War Storm. It sounds, looks so satisfying compared to StarCraft 2 Storm.
100%. Up next is the Reaver. Reaver decrease unload stun duration for 1.87 to 1.57. Interesting. Reavers will now remain stationary. Yes, that is a buff. Yes.
Okay.
Because if you recall, when a Reaver gets dropped from a shuttle, the Reaver is stunned for this amount of seconds before it can shoot. So it's not instant when the scarab shot goes off.
Yep.
Reavers now remain stationary for 3.1 seconds after firing their last scarab when using the attack move on the ground.
Oh,
this duration, if the Reaver issued an attack move on the ground, it will now move towards that location until it finishes building a scarab. If the Reaver is issued a target fire command on a unit, it will remain its distance.
Interesting. And that's after the duration when it actually... That's after the duration where it's stunned, after it, whatchamacallit, after it fires the last shot. So, yeah. This is an interesting change. Not gonna lie. It makes the Reaver... It feels like it feels like the Reaver is now a little bit more immobile. Well, it feels that way because that's exactly what it's going to do, right? They are looking to make because of how powerful the Reaver is, they do want to get rid of some of its mobility, so to make it a bit more of a risk to actually, use them and get them into position. So, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Siege Tank, but obviously big difference there is that Siege Tank doesn't build any additional projectiles. It just has its attack mode.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting change here to the Reaver, and we'll see what kind of impact it's going to have coming into the games themselves. So we'll see how that does kind of unfold. Up next is going to be the Observer. The Observer, it looks like we do have increased cost for gravitic boosters. That's Observer speed. Decrease the research time. Increase sensor array research cost, and decrease its research time as well. So just adjustments there when it comes to the upgrades for the Observer. Up next, we have the Scout. Likewise, we do have its increased research costs as well. Meanwhile, increased research costs for gravitic thrusters. Just increased costs here for the upgrades.
Yep. Movement speed makes sense. Same patch that they said that they're not going to be, touching the actual damage or anything like that of the Valkyrie. So, not sure what the connection there I was going for.
The final
point.
The final comment here is interesting just because it means that apparently has similar speed to the Phoenix. That's going to be pretty big for PvP.
It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult, I think, for SC2 Protoss to bully Brute War Protoss with Phoenix now. Still possible, obviously. I think that I believe the Phoenix is one of the most microable units in all of StarCraft 2, just because it's one of the few units that can actually attack while moving. So it's still going to be possible, but it's going to be a bit more difficult to get away with that with the Phoenix.
For sure. Up next is the Corsair. Increase Disruption Web research cost by 50 as well. Disruption Web is honestly insanely good. it's a pretty good spell, pretty good ability. They are going to be increasing it.
This is an SC evolution, but I did the Zerg campaign a while back for StarCraft 1, and I was like, this is super, this is going well. I think it was the second last campaign mission. I was like, I'm gonna get Mutalists everywhere. Yeah, let's get this thing. All of a sudden, one Corsair rocks up, disruption webs my entire Mutaflock, and I'm just a sitting duck. I had to reload that entire goddamn mission after that.
I like this. That leads us into the carrier. It looks like the carrier decreased the cost for the carrier capacity research, as well as they decrease the research time as well. For those who don't know, the carrier in Brood War, when it does spawn in, it can only hold 4 interceptors. Only 4 interceptors, and you have to make an upgrade to allow it to actually hold more interceptors. And specifically, this comment states that like right now, switching into Skytoss is very difficult because the power of the carrier takes a little bit too long to really like bring online, just because of how it comes in like vanilla. So these are going to be changes here to the carrier to increase its power, increase its strength, which overall I would say is a good thing. Up next is the Arbiter. The Arbiter as well has also been adjusted. We do have the research cost decreased, increase stasis field cast range, and also the duration as well.
Yep. And as I said, that this was actually the original. These were actually the original stats of the Arbiter, but they were adjusting it over time, and they were just they have kind of decided now that wait a minute, the Arbiter is the problem. It's every other unit.
Yeah, exactly. So now they have been able to bring it back to its full strength, to its full force. And from there, we have some bug fixes. Fixes as well, where they were...
And quality of life. Yeah.
True. Quality
Specifically with the command center, building the ComSat station, is not going to occupy the same hotkey as scanner sweep. And this is, again, in line with the other change that they're making, in that once you build a ComSat station, you don't have to select it to sweep to scan. You can still just select a command center that's attached to it and then scan.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that is the final changes here. Again, a lot of changes in StarCraft Evolution, to all the units, to all of the to Terran, to Zerg, and to Protoss. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how the meta shifts. We'll see everything changes coming into the next season of SEL. It's definitely some big changes.
Yeah. Let's see, fewer 3 Raxes, please.
True. That is the hope.
You know what? This is a good time for Cure to start playing SEL.
Exactly. It's gonna happen. We'll get him in. But that does wrap.
I think that's the real test, right? Of making sure whether or not you've achieved your goals, at least when it comes to Brute or Terran. If Cure comes in and he doesn't play 3 racks every single goddamn game, you'll know you'd have done it.
Exactly. So, it's definitely some exciting changes here. The map pool, the changes to the units themselves, of course, as well as even adjustments to 4-player spawn maps. So there's definitely a lot to look forward to in the upcoming patch of StarCraft Evolution. We'll get there when it comes to the next SEL tournament. Definitely exciting news, exciting stuff to come.
Yeah. Speaking of SEL tournaments, we actually have a couple that took place this past week.
We did have a couple. The first one is not quite as StarCraft Evolution, but Warcraft 3 Evolution. That is going to be the Kung Fu Cup weekly number 6. This is an alternating tournament. It goes from Warcraft 3 to SC Evo. This time it was Warcraft Evolution here instead.
And as always, whenever a Warcraft Evolution event has been held, I always got to ask, 1, do we have replays? 2, did anyone play orcs?
Yes. For the first time. For the first time, Yaku,
yeah.
We actually had some orc gameplay. It was crazy. Oh my god.
Ogar.
So shout out to Rotterdam. Rotterdam, he did play in this tournament as well. He actually did play orc, by the way. I think he mained orc back in the day, back when he was a professional player.
All of the Dutch players did. Him, Grubby, Harstem. All of them played orc somehow.
There you go. All did play orcs.
Well, I think Harstem started with human, I think Harstem played both human and orc, but
yeah. So Rodan did play orc. meanwhile, when it comes to the event itself, we did have some newer faces. Like, I've never seen the Korean Protoss player Korean before. He actually took down Max Pax in the quarterfinals, so very impressive. Did go down to Yang Yakov, but I would say that was the highlight. That was the highlight of the tournament, was Korean versus Yang Yakov in the semifinals. Korean did play Orc. He did play Orc. I think he actually played Random.
Hell yeah!
And
that's how he won.
And he had a really interesting style. He actually played it really well. He played Warcraft Evolution really well, and he had a build with Orc where he did go into his hero of choice, which was the Tauren Chieftain.
Cairn.
Yes, Cairn. And one of Cairn's abilities is a like frontal AoE. It's like an AoE like Kufu ability where he just AoEs in front of him like in a straight line.
Straight line.
In a straight line. And what he did was he got into Cairn.
Did he go into a choke point?
He got him into a Zeppelin. So he rushed into the mercenary camp. He got a Zeppelin, and he went for some Karen drops into mineral lines. It was crazy. He was one-shotting mineral lines, dude. It was crazy. He was dropping in and just killing everything. It was insane.
And what race was Yang Yakov playing in this game?
Zerg. I'm pretty sure it was Zerg. So yeah, drones were getting roasted here by some chieftain drops, mate. It was crazy.
Basically like Hellion run-bys, but with just a single cow. Man.
Yeah. One massive cow, mate. It was crazy. And he had really good control. Like he was very attentive when it came to just multi-pronged aggression, and then bam, he'd like drop into a middle line, pick up, get out of there, then attack somewhere else and drop back in. Like it was a very active style, and he was almost exclusively using him just to harass mineral lines and kill drones, and it was crazy. Oh my god. So, that was definitely a highlight of the tournament. I do recommend tuning into Korean versus Yang Yakov. Honmono, he also had a good showing as well. But what I will say is that Honmono, he relied on his StarCraft 2 Terran and his Brutal Terran to make it to the finals. It was impressive that they make it that far. But in the finals and even in the semis, when Honmono was forced to play human, when he was forced to play Warcraft 3,
nobody forces you to play human. You could always play Orc. Is all I'm saying.
True. When playing Warcraft 3, he had no idea. He was struggling quite a bit. So the finals was a little bit more one-sided, but regardless, really well played. And Yang Yakov, he did play well. He was also mixing it up between human and undead when he played Warcraft 3. He's mixing it up.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so congratulations to Yang Yakov
in the game.
He does claim the win. Does take it there. That leads us into the Enki Epic Series number 1. This was a best of 9 show match in StarCraft Evolution.
Indeed, it was the first of its kind, and a bit of an interesting one. This was, as you said, a best of 9 show match featuring Björn, somebody who has had a lot of success in StarCraft Evolution, up against Hero. And I have to ask, Light, because I'm pretty sure this is the first time Hero has played in StarCraft Evolution. I don't remember him previously.
He played in a StarCraft Evolution tournament at the start of the year. And if you remember, at the start of this PondCast, I spoke when we were going over the patch notes. I was like, we've seen Hero die to 12 pool drone pools one time too many. He did get 12 pool drone pool the hell out of that tournament.
And that's when he stopped playing.
There you go. But during the time, I remember asking Hero about it, and he did say that he was playing for fun, that he doesn't really have a lot of experience in StarCraft Evolution. He was just, trying it out and testing things out as well. So because that, I'll be honest, I didn't really have many expectations. I did not have many expectations from Hero coming into this Epic Series, but Hero, he exceeded the hell out of any expectations in this show match. He dominated Björn, which was crazy because Björn is very in form right now when it comes to SC2 and SC Evolution. And Hero, he looked terrifying in Brood War Protoss. Like he was popping off. It was crazy.
Damn.
Again, it was the best of 9. Did end 7-1 in favor of Hero. They did agree to play extra maps. They agreed to play extra maps.
I was gonna say, didn't Hero play Zerg back when he played Brute War?
No, there is a Zerg. There's a Brood War Zerg player called Hero. That's a different hero.
Ah, okay.
I thought he did play Zerg as well. Like back in
Oh,
Brood
well
War.
then maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe he did play Zerg. But yeah, here he played Protoss. He played Protoss, and he was going for Reaver drops. He was going for Storm play. He was playing Sky Toss. Like he was having a lot of diverse plays. What I will say, it was
he
a
made
really
Dark
diverse
Khans. It's the only thing I care about.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Unfortunately, potentially. I have seen him play make Dark. Yeah.
I have seen Dark Khans be in SC Evolution once. So
yeah.
It didn't.
It's
they lost
recently.
that game. I remember them losing that game after that, but I appreciated it at the very least. I think it might have been. It wasn't Dark. I think it was Dark versus somebody, possibly Lunacy.
Okay. Yeah, but with that, congratulations to Hero again. Hero looking very strong, very dominant in that show match. Very impressive, especially considering the form of Bjorn in recent times. So very well done there, very well played there by Hero. As that leads us into our next event. That leads us into the 3D Clan 2v2 Old School Cup. Old School.
In Old School.
There you go.
I focus a bit more on the CIS region, and like I said, it's a 2v2 cup, and as always, when it comes to 2v2 cups, it's interesting looking at the teams that get formed and the partners who get chosen. This time it was won by Milky Cow and Wayne, who went up against Bratok and Mindel VK. Which, in my mind, that's like one of the oldest players versus one teaming up with one of the youngest players, Bratok and Mindel VK, I mean.
Yeah, Bratok and Mindel VK, they've been playing a lot of 2v2s together. They've been playing a lot of 2v2s. And fun fact, this is a rematch. If you look at the beginning of the round, Bratok and Mindel VK, they actually they toured Wayne and Milky Cow at the start of the tournament, and Wayne and Milky Cow, they had to fight their way up the upper bracket. Like that was not an easy run for them.
They were fueled by sheer spite. They were like, "We're gonna get a rematch, and we're gonna win," and it worked. Beautiful.
Yeah, they got there in the end. They got their rematch, so very impressive, very well done. They didn't make it through in the end, and yeah, with that, they became our champions. Went all the way to the ace match in the finals as well, so really, really impressive performances there from Milky Cow and Wayne. Yeah. And even from Bratok and Mindel VK.
Once again, proving to show that Terran and Zerg stronger than Terran and Protoss.
There you go. United they stand. But yeah, 3D Clan, they've been hosting a lot of these Evolution 2v2 events, and it's been really fascinating to see. One of these days, I do look forward to watching it. One of these days, and yeah, it's just really fascinating to see them embrace StarCraft Evolution as much as they have.
Ever since you said they joined forces, in my head now, I'm now just thinking, if Helldivers 3 ever becomes a thing, they gotta include like the space elf race.
There you go. I know nothing about Helldivers.
I've never played Helldivers. Yeah, I've been told that it's similar to Starship Troopers in terms of the setting, and it's like it's humans versus space bugs. They need to introduce the space elves at one point.
There you go. Full
Protoss or Eldar. I don't know that much about Warhammer either. To be honest, everything I know about Warhammer is from Total War.
So good. Have you played Total War Warhammer?
I played the first one.
Okay. There's like 3,
and I have
right?
The second one. There are 3, and they made it so that if you have all 3, you can basically play like. The way they did it is each game is set in a different like continent of the Warhammer universe, but if you have all 3. They made it so that if your PC is powerful enough and you own all 3, you can have like a mega campaign of all of the entire world. Which
oh my god!
And that's why the caveat is if your PC is powerful enough.
Okay.
For the vast majority of people, it's not.
Fair enough. That sounds insane and amazing at the same time. But speaking of Warhammer, we do have our Amateur League monthly tournament number 39. Now, this is an amateur league that does provide points and is split between different distinct kind of leagues of players.
Yeah. this was something that I was called out to play. It was in our Discord server. I was at it and said, "Yo, playing this thing. It's in your MMR range," and I was like, "It's at 8 a.m. for me. It's at 8 a.m. for me. I'm degenning, mate."
No, not like this. Well, we have the initial Bronze to Platinum edition here, where we did have the Zerg player Your Edge advance on, takes down Ragnar 2-0, takes down Atlantean Scion 3-0 as well. So strong showing there from Your Edge. Very well done. A player that I'm very unfamiliar with, but regardless, well done nonetheless.
Yeah. Always nice to see here. Pretty soon, I imagine they're no longer going to be platinum.
Yeah, possibly. That leads us into our next league brackets. It leads us into D3 into D3/D2. Some players that we're a little bit more familiar with
something
here.
I was supposed to play in. Before I was like, mate, you gotta understand something about being a degen.
As we have players that we're more familiar with. Not gonna lie, I
Why?
did read Gooters as Gooners. Not gonna lie, that is how I.
That's it.
We'll get to the Gooners later, don't worry. But Pretty Fly, yes, he is a regular non-tournament. Blade of Fire is another player that I'm familiar with as well, and they did face off in the grand finals. It did go the way of Pretty Fly, but it was definitely a close one. Did go all the way to the ace match.
Yeah, 2 finalists are the 2 players who we're familiar with, so I'm satisfied with that.
There you go. As that leads us into our D1/M2 league brackets. Once again, some players we're familiar with. We have Milka, we have Defiance, Zigger, Beast, Set as well. I believe every one of these players has played an MSO before.
Yep. I recognize Zigger, Beast, and Defiant at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. In the end, Beast does win it 3-2 over Milka in the rematch. So they did go back and forth in their series. They go back and forth in their matches. Beast does come out on top.
There we go. He's quite a beast.
There you go. As that leads us into the PassionCraft Emerging Stars number 12. Once again, we're speeding through these so quickly. Meanwhile, the actual OSC Elite Rising Star is going at a snail's pace. Like, I just God, we have so many of these.
Yeah, I just realized I opened this before we decided to change our topic list. I just realized in the Elite category, the Masters 1 to GM portion of it, Pat just won that. Because he didn't have an opponent
at
all. It was Patches versus No Show. So Patches won it. He got the points.
Nice. Shout out to Patches.
There you go.
Does take it in the end. Meanwhile, for the PassionCraft Emerging Stars, we do have Inexorable. Inexorable takes down Killzen, takes down Cobblestone, takes down Ivor. Oh, he takes down Uncle Ivor. 3-1. GG. I believe Ivor, he was a previous
coming out. Yeah, Iro. Yeah, he won last week. The PassionCraft Emerging Stars.
Yeah.
That's when we had the other segue where you were like, "Did you?" Or you asked me if I watched the live action. I didn't. I saw recently they're making a 2nd season of that, so maybe I should watch.
No, you shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
No, we brought it up because if you remember, I believe they're making a movie. Are they not? They're making like an animated movie.
They are making an animated movie. It's set to come out next week. Or next week. Next month.
Okay,
not next month. Me. Next year. 2026. January 2026.
Okay, there you go.
January 2026.
That would be worth watching. Yes, several months. But that would be worth watching. Yeah, that's worth watching.
It's the 2nd season of the live action. That's next month or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't care about that one. We don't care.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it does take down Ivor in the end, 3-1. So big win there for Inexorable. Very nicely done. And that does mean that he does secure himself in OSC Elite Rising Star number 15. So now he can play in OSC next year.
Yeah. It's old enough.
There you go.
He's got enough points. He evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. did break through. That leads us into our next big event here. That leads us into the All Things Protoss Team League Circuit 2025 Spring Split. That's a bit of a mouthful, but this is where the Gooners be at.
I don't. Okay. We do have a couple of updates. So I was just looking through this. I was like, wait a minute. I think I remember seeing some of these results, but yeah, last week was just week 1. This week is week 2.
Yeah,
Gooners faced against the Goobers this week.
Yes, exactly. I'm pretty sure we raided them while they were playing. It was crazy. Yeah. So the Gooners versus the Goobers, and in the end, the Gooners came out on top. We had Heaven tying versus Sebestis 1-1. We had Gunner tying against Viant 1-1. But your bro Chris took down Lilypad in the end. The Gooners are just too strong. Too strong,
yeah. I like how it came down to I like how it came down to the TVZ in the end here.
Yeah.
For the All Things Protoss League.
No
it
Protoss.
all came down to no Protoss, yeah.
Oh, yeah. God damn it. Meanwhile, that leads us into our next match. That leads us into Smurf Time versus the Cinque Formaggi. As we do have Lulis going up against Baby Marine. They're tied at 1-1. We had Hydra taking down Lorimbo 2-0. And Enpo takes down Boanan 2-0 as well.
Ooh, real strong showing from our Smurf Timers.
Yeah, they be smurfing. And meanwhile, Cinque Formaggi. No Protoss for Bonan?
Yeah. We mentioned this last week. We have a couple of off races in this league. Bonan is one of them. I think Sebestis was another one.
I think so. Yeah. Sebestis as well. Yeah, and
Baby
Fiant.
Marine also. Yeah, Fiant. Baby Marine also. Yeah. A lot of off races in this tournament.
Yeah. It's just I'm just worried because Bonan, does he know how to cheese a Zerg? Like, is he spine rushing? Is that what he?
He's got it, right? I mean,
he has to at this point, 100%.
See, you said you were worried about Boanan not being familiar with Zerg cheeses. What I was worried about was everybody else on this team with Lorimbo as the captain, who has now lost to Hydra.
Oh no. Este Lorimbo. I believe he can lead his team. I believe he can lead into victory. I will lead him somewhere.
I believe that Lorimbo was actually playing this very well. Like, he was actually ahead versus Hydra, but then he got into an argument with chat and he got distracted.
Yes, 100%. He did get distracted. God damn it, Lorimbo. Oh, no. Meanwhile, we do have Group B also unfolding here. We have Baguette. Baguette, they take down Off Race 6-0. Dominant showing there from the Baguettes.
Yeah. Very strong showing. I always said that this was the all-French lineup, but then I remembered that Azura is Italian.
It's close.
I mean, apparently Lorimbo is calling him fake Italian, so I don't know what the beef is there.
Ooh. It's because obviously he's a fake Italian. He didn't join the fromage.
True, that's the problem.
He joined the baguette instead of the pizza.
He abandoned his boys. He abandoned Baby Marine and Lorimbo for the baguette.
Yeah. He gave up on the 5 cheese pizza, 5 cheese pizza. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
A lot of cheese.
4 cheese, already fantastic. 5 cheese though. Whew. But Azura, he said, nah, I don't need cheese. I don't need sauce. I just eat bread, baguette.
Yeah, that's all you got. Just the bread.
Yeah. Fromage.
So what you're saying is we need to see the grudge match, is what you're getting at. We need to see the grudge match between the baguettes and between the fromaggi. We
do need to see the grudge match, and whoever wins needs to just flood the opposite team with their food. Which, I'm not gonna lie, if I was on Team Baguette, I would throw on purpose. I would throw on purpose to get some free 5 cheese pizza.
Right now, what you're saying is we need to get that grudge match going, and I want to see Lorimbo force feeding Azura some pizza. Yeah. That's what we need to see. Yes.
You know how you have that meme of the first Italian being forced to see somebody put pineapple on pizza? That's what I imagine here for Lorimbo. Some version of that here. Lorimbo forcing Azura to watch.
Yes.
Something involving pizza.
As he steps on the baguette.
Yeah, as
outta
he
here.
breaks it into
Oh,
over
no.
his knee. And he's like, you see, this is what happens when you don't have cheese to bind it.
Or the opposite, like we're leading towards
Yeah,
Lorimbo here just
yeah.
because of the pizza, but
Just
at the
because we're
same
biased,
time, yeah, we could see Azura force feeding Lorimbo a baguette.
True.
It's possible.
The Rainbow Azura being like, you see, when you don't have cheese and you don't have sauce and you don't have all the salt, you don't get blood pressure. You don't get cholesterol.
True. Oh no. Oh no. Lorimbo screaming out, "It's too dry. Just get me some cheese."
Give me some sauce to dip at least. No.
Oh god. Well, with that, we also have a Cannons versus Monkey. Oh, Monkey.
Mhm.
Also facing off, does go the way of Monkey at 5-1.
Hell yeah.
Once again, strong showing from the Monkeys.
Monkey, that was the team I was rooting for, I think.
Yeah.
It was team and it was Monka and Overslept, I think, were the two that I was leaning towards most.
Fair. Meanwhile, we do have team Faline versus Viet Cong. Of course, the Vietnamese team with no Vietnamese players.
Yep. No monkeys either.
No. SMH my head.
SMH.
As they do win the series 4-2 here over Team Faline.
Yep. What was the team that we said was a pun on Lincoln? Oh, it was Lincoln Park. Yeah, we have one.
Park, yeah.
Yeah, we have one match that has yet to unfold. It's going to be happening in about 3 hours from now. That's Team Overslept versus Blinken Park. So
Yeah, Overslept, the one team with an actual Vietnamese player.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep. Not part of Viet Cong, yeah.
God damn.
Do you think Do you think Jackie had to get whatchamacallit, residuals from Team Viet Cong for that?
Yo, there's gonna be some beef going on there or something, right? There's gonna be like maybe Jackie made the team and then he got evicted from the team or something. Like I feel like he was just kicked off and now they have Viet Cong now for some reason. Like I don't know. Something happened, mate. Something.
Yeah. They just kept the name.
Yeah. But yeah, so best of luck to Overslept and Blinken as they are playing in 4 hours' time. So they'll be playing by the time we wrap up the PondCast. We might even line this up with a raid. Doubtful, but potentially. Shout out to Gemini, of course, for hosting and for casting this.
Right, if you want to line it up with the raid, I'm going to be passing out before we're done.
True. Up next, we do have our regional show matches. Here we go, our regional events here for StarCraft 2. Up first, we do have the Hot Tea Tournament. Oh my
God. Hot Tea coming back in. I say Hot Tea. Hokago Tea Team coming back in. That was a clan, a kind of an amateur clan that also organized a lot of tournaments back in the day for the specifically CIS region. A lot of memories of Hokago Tea Team. I think the very first time I discovered this team, I was like, wait, what is that logo?
Yeah, it's you know what? I just appreciate that the Hot Tea Tournament logo is a cup with a tea bag in it, and it's not like
It's a tournament cup with
spicy
in
underwear,
it,
you know? Like I just appreciate that there's no underwear in the tournament logo. That's what I appreciate.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yep.
These
I'm glad that we as a society have come to a place where we have decided underwear is a prize. Kind of trashy. Kind of inappropriate, you know?
I think you speak too highly on society, mate.
I would like to imagine.
The weaves are proliferating, okay? Like these are all diva.
Imagine,
I can already tell all of these people in Hokago Tea Team, they're all diva enjoyers. Every single one of them. God damn it.
That's the question, right? Are they diva enjoyers? Or are they just diva enjoyers? Or are they Russian diva enjoyers?
They're
I've heard German diva, and that's pretty cursed, not gonna lie. I can't imagine what Eastern European language diva is like.
German diva's a thing. Are you calling out Captain
German
Fish
diva's
right
a
now?
thing.
Does
Yeah.
does Captain Fish use German diva? Oh
Yeah.
god.
It's pretty cursed. Pretty cursed.
God damn it. God damn it.
He's also in chat
but we're
right now
good.
as he just raided us.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. As a shout out to Captain Fish for the
Captain
raid.
Fish.
God, my God. Thank you so
Captain
much. Thank you
Fish.
so much.
Quit being a weeb.
It's too late, Yak. It's too late. He's already lost to us. It's
Yeah,
no.
yes, yeah.
Next time we see Captain Fish, he's going to be on Hokago T team. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
No.
Speaking of the
Out
events,
of spite now.
yes, exactly. Speaking of the events, we did have Proto Xavier winning the entire thing, but Art made it all the way to the finals. Art off racing as Terran.
Oh, I just realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I feel like if he was playing his main race, he would probably won the whole thing.
100%.
Which is probably why he off-raced, right? I mean, this is
Yeah.
a bit of a lower league kind of thing. It's like a semi-pro, I suppose, or amateur to semi-pro league. So if you're gonna have somebody who is that highly ranked on places like a Ligulac, the least you can do is have them off-race. So, which thankfully Art was open to.
I imagine he just doesn't want to be known as like the hot tea underwear champion, you know,
the
like
winner, yeah, the hottie.
I don't know. Oh god. I'm just shaking. I just can't. I'm just looking at a page full of underwear. So I'm looking at. I can't do it. God damn.
And if we're gonna look at a page full of underwear, at least give us the time where I look at a page full of underwear. That's after we get the MeUndies sponsorship. All right.
True.
That's the only time I'll do that on stream. If we get MeUndies to sponsor us, that's what I'll do.
What you're saying is we need Hokago T team to get in touch with MeUndies, and there needs to be a sponsorship. There needs to be.
Yeah.
At this point they got to commit. Yeah, they got to commit.
Yeah. Commit.
Then they can wear that underwear while they're playing.
Exactly. Then you know what? They team up. They get the MeUndies as a sponsor. Prize gift card.
Yeah. There you go.
To MeUndies, because you're not allowed to give underwear as a prize. Or I'm putting my foot down. I'm saying you shouldn't give underwear as a prize. Well, a gift card for underwear? That's different,
There you go. God damn it. With that, congratulations to Proto Xavier for becoming the champion of the Hot Tea tournament. Whether or not this becomes a regular event, yet to be determined. Apparently, there was another Hot Tea tournament back in 2023, so it doesn't look like a regular thing. But every now and then, we'll bring out some hot pants, some hot panties, and they'll all duke it out.
Why isn't this a hot pants tournament?
It should be the hot
because
pants
it's T-team.
Yeah, it is. It is the
Okay. It's coming together. All right. I understand that.
Oh god.
Also, I'm looking at the logo again for the tournament, where it's like a cup of steaming tea in a trophy cup.
Yeah.
I have to imagine, how in baseball games and stuff like that, when the team that wins, they dump the drinks on the coach.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this happening to the winner, but then the tea is still hot.
Oh no, the scalding hot tea. I mean, or they have to chug it, right? They have the trophy of scalding hot tea, and they got to down it when they win. There you go. Yeah.
You know what? I've been told that tea looks similar to beer, so.
Who told you that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about? What kind of tea are you drinking?
Wait, no, it's whiskey. Tea looks similar to whiskey. Never mind. Dark tea looks similar to whiskey.
It's brown, I guess.
Yaku, have you seen tea before? I'm starting to question.
I've heard of tea. No, but that's like a legit movie making trick. I learned that it's if you want to film a scene of a guy who's drunk, but you don't want them to actually be drunk, you make a bunch of cold tea, to be like, I'm drinking whiskey.
I can see that. As in, I can see a bunch of like iced tea replacing alcohol in like a prop of like a whiskey bottle. I can see that. I can see that for sure, 100%. That makes sense.
What does beer look like? Hold on.
I mean, it's also like light brown, like typically, traditionally.
Okay, all right. You can get some darker beer from what I'm seeing.
True, like a lager,
Yeah, like a lager.
Yeah.
Like an ale. like a Guinness.
Sure. As that leads us into our next tournament, leads us into Code for Giants Cup number 22. As we move away from the hell that was, we have our bi-weekly Brazilian tournament here. Once again, we have our regulars. Now, I believe this was during the era of when Inexorable was still focusing on his studies. So Inexorable, he was still a little bit unavailable, but regardless, he had a solid lineup nonetheless.
Was this the one that was played this morning, or?
Yeah, this morning.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think I cut the finals for this.
Eric, he did make his return. Eric, he popped off. He took down Kamikaze 2-0. I mean, he 2-0'd his way all the way to the finals, where he faced up against Master, where he had a back and forth, very intense series between Eric and Master. Again, they're both very familiar with each other, and it did go the distance.
Yeah, this I would say is a finals that we're more familiar with when it comes to the Code for Giants Cup. Last week, as you were mentioning, or the previous event that we had for this, Eric, of course, was missing. He was busy at the time, but now, Eric versus Master, best Brazilian Zerg player versus best Brazilian Protoss player. Arguably the best of Latin America for their respective races, but yeah. I'm sure Cham probably has something to say about that, but
I'm sure he does. But GG will play tier 2 Master as it does claim the win. Shout out to Eric, of course, for making it out in second place. Again, it was very intense. I do recommend the VODs for this tournament, as this leads us into another Brazilian event, the very first of its kind, the Hellfire Open. Of course, Team Hellfire, they do of course sponsor players like Master, like Yan and Allison as well, but it was open to all players from Brazil, and we did have Kamikaze, Sleepy, Dominoko, and others step up into the ring, but without Eric, without Inexorable, Master, he went through undefeated.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big three of Brazil, right? Of each respective race is Eric, is Master, and is Inexorable. You get two missing, and you only have one big boy, and this time it was Master.
Yeah, the big boy himself. He does 2-0 and 3-0 his way through the tournament. So big win there from Master. He does claim the win. Again, he is, as you mentioned, the best Protoss in Brazil, best Protoss in Latin America. He is the one to beat, and he does claim the win here. Speaking of Latin America, we did have a big event over the weekend. Not quite just Latin America, but the Hispanic region, as the Hispanic StarCraft League playoffs were over this weekend.
Indeed, they were. And I gotta tell you, that was a tournament. That was a broadcast and a half. Like, not just the games themselves, which are obviously fantastic, but also just, the production behind that and the broadcast and the talent behind all of that as well. The casters, crew, and all that. Fantastic job all around, I gotta say. They actually made an intro video that was really, really exciting.
It was sick. I love.
No, I didn't really understand much of what was going on.
Yeah, if you're out there, if you are checking out our YouTube channel, then do head on over to our YouTube. We have the intro video there alongside the rest of the VODs, of course, of the event. And we had the best of the best in the Hispanic region. Now, this does exclude Portugal. It does exclude Brazil. Bear that in mind. So no Brazilian players here, just players from the rest of the Spanish-speaking scene and the Spanish-speaking countries. And again, we had the best of the best here. We had Special, we had Eggs, we had Mute, Tavo, Eon, Vortex, Akedon, Chem, and many others. This was a 2-day event, and we were fortunate enough to be the English casters for this event.
Yeah.
And coming into this, I'll be honest, I was expecting Juanito versus Cham. I was expecting Special versus Cham. I was expecting that in the finals, and we had a crazy upset, a crazy turn of events in the semis.
That we did. Special versus Cham. I mean, we were talking about it last week. I said myself that was kind of the expected thing, but also what I was rooting for, because I wanted that grudge match between Special and Cham, but Vortex, he had other plans. This was, and here's the thing, I'm also very sad. And here's the thing, while I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get to see Special versus Vortex, I am also very glad that we managed to see Vortex go all the way to the finals, because this felt like a tournament that was very, very near and dear to him. I mean, this is Vortex's first tournament back in quite some time. He was taking this very seriously. He was practicing very, very hard, and I, for one, am very glad to see that all of that paid off for him. He ended up falling to Special, but he took him all the way to the ace match, and I don't know, weirdly, I feel proud for Vortex, even though I've only really been following him for just about this tournament.
Yeah. Again, like Vortex, as you mentioned, like he is mainly an AoE 4 player nowadays. Like that's his game, that's his esports. But for him to return here to StarCraft for this tournament was definitely something that caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people were not expecting it, but it was really cool to see him thrive here. And again, he had very intense ZVZs. You can see he went to the ace match against Eon, he went to the ace match against Cham, and of course went to the ace match against Special as well. It was a very intense finals, very intense, very aggressive. A lot of aggression from Special, a lot of aggression from Vortex as well. Did make for a beautiful finals, and I do know that the Spanish casters, specifically the Spanish casters from Spain, were very hyped and very excited for Vortex.
Oh yeah, it's a hometown hero, right? I mean, he's
100%.
He's representing the motherland.
Yeah, he really was. So, I mean, it was also a very fitting finals just because this tournament, in a way, it does feel a little bit, because even though everyone here is Spanish speaking, there is like a divide between Latino America and Spain itself. So it was a great way to end that with like Spain versus Latin America in the end.
It's the people who speak Spanish and the people who speak Spanish with a lisp. That's what I understand about Spain Spanish and American Spanish.
But also kind of not wrong. So it is. They do speak a little bit differently when it comes to the dialect. And yeah, it was really cool to see them in the finals. And again, a shout out to Vortex for making it to the finals before the ace match. Congratulations to Special Juanito for winning the entire event. I know that his form was in question, and if you remember, Cham even beat Special a couple of weeks ago in the Big Rain bouts. Did already defeat Special, so again, I was looking forward for that grudge match. Yeah, exactly. But maybe next time.
Yeah. Next big Rain bouts.
Exactly. So that leads us into our next tournament. That leads us into the Enki Pro Series number 3. Also, very quickly, I should linger on a little bit more. When it comes to the HSL, of course, was crowdfunded by the community, and afterwards they did have like a bit of a post-mortem of the event itself, and the organizers spoke on how they did want to host another event towards the end of the year. They do have incentive to like improve the event and maybe make like the finals a little bit longer, and just iterate and improve the format itself.
First off, that did happen, and that's a really good thing to have happened. They're just talking about the event itself and talking about potential future plans. I can't get over the fact that you described it as a post-mortem. That sounds morbid. That's like
true.
That sounds very morbid. That's a bit of a downer. It's like, yeah, the tournament, it got killed.
It's dead.
After the finals, it's dead. We're not bringing it. No. It's more of like a debrief, you know?
Yeah. It's am I crazy? Did Total Biscuit, did he used to call his wrap-ups post-mortems? Am I crazy?
He might have. I mean, you just used another term that I think would have been more fitting, which is wrap up. Yeah. A tournament wrap up.
Yeah, I think that's what he called them, right? Am I crazy?
For Shoutcraft or for
for Shoutcraft, for Shoutcraft, yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, it's
post-mortem.
No,
you might not be crazy.
No, yeah,
but I'm not seeing
it's a thing. Hold on,
I'll take your word for it. All right.
Bam. Shoutcraft America Winter Postmortem. That's what he used to call his wrap-ups. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's right. That's where I got it from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a precedent. Yeah. All right.
For sure. But yeah, with that, so I do look forward to seeing some more HSL in the future. Of course, that leads us into the Enki Pro Series number 3. This was a best of 9, by the way, best of 9. Best of 9 show match here between Dark and Clem. It was very exciting just because, again, Dark, he isn't really competing in many events nowadays. He has accepted a couple of invites of certain tournaments, of other events that we will be getting into as well, such as the Pigsty Festival, such as this Pro Series. So even though, yes, Dark, he is going to the military soon, he is still playing every now and then in some of these events. He no longer plays in Open Cups, but every now and then he's invited on and he will accept.
Yeah. Whenever he can. As always, whenever Dark is involved with something, I always have to check the date. And yeah, this one took place back in March, the final week of March. So yeah, not as crazy as crazy as we do know that his military date or his book-in date, his whatchamacallit date, enlistment date is I think around this week. Funnily enough, second or third week of April, I think is what he said.
Yep. Exactly. So it's right around the corner. So congratulations to Clem. Dominant showing there by Clem. Dark, he was able to hold his own, at least in one game on Neo Violet Square, but alas, couldn't quite do so on some of these other maps. So Clem does take it. I mean, again, Clem, he is the reigning world champion. He's the best player in the world. So Clem did come in as the heavy favorite, but at least Dark was able to put on a show and able to make a series out of it.
Yeah.
As that leads us into... Yeah, for sure. As that leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan number 451.
Yo.
Oh, and once again, we have a player coming out of left field.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the Legacy Weekly Japan, we were mentioning how Vasarvania and Syark were missing, and that allowed other players to really step in. Last week, we had Vasarvania and Syark in the tournament, but the finals wasn't the two of them. It was Vasarvania versus, I believe, the same player that he was up against this week, Burfil, who has won this week. Now,
yeah, he does take the win here. It was actually Noticon. Noticon was the previous champion.
Noticon, okay.
Yeah, who actually, I mean, Vasarvania did take him out earlier in the tournament, but yeah, as you mentioned, Burfield did take the win here, took down Syark in the semifinals, and Vasarvania in the grand finals as well, so big win there for Burfield, a player that we're very unfamiliar with, that we don't really expect to have a deep run like this, but did pop off this week.
Yeah, Japan, man. They got some people.
Yeah.
They got some youngins picking it up.
They got some players rising through the ranks. Okay, so the old veterans have been cast aside, and we might have a new regular kind of a champion in Japan.
Is this the influence of Honmono?
Do you think he angered the Japanese populace, and now they're playing more StarCraft to like make sure they bring him down, or is that what's happening? Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. I was more imagining Honmono going down to like what's the name of that district with all the mate cafes?
Oh no.
I imagine Honmono just infiltrated the mate cafes and was like, yo, you guys want to know what's really D-Gen?
Oh no.
You guys want to become even more D-Gen? Yeah.
Oh no. The whole mono way of Terran as well. So regardless, GG will play it here to Burfield for taking the win. Congratulations. Not too certain if he's won many of these in the past, but yeah, to take down, I mean, he went through the goal and taking down both Syark and Vasarvania. Like, you do not get, harder than that in Japan.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
talk about whole mono. Is that what you're gonna say? God. So congratulations.
You don't get much harder than that in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get any harder.
You can't. Okay, there you go. As that leads us into our next tournament, that leads into the Sunrise Cup 196. As we do go back to normalcy a little bit here, as we do have Nanami Chiaki popping off once again, taking down Ear 3-0.
Nicely done. Nanami, I believe, won last week's Sunrise Cup as I opened up that bracket. And yep, he also won last week's Sunrise Cup. So yeah, makes sense. Just continuing his streak here quite a little bit.
Yeah, big win there for Nanami. One quick thing that I did notice is that we do have Oriana looking a little bit different in this tournament.
Yeah, that's Oriana repping Protoss this week.
Yeah,
Off
so I
racing quite a
won.
bit, as he usually does play Terran.
Yeah, so Oriana, is this just a one-off event? Is this something to take note of? I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in upcoming Sunrise Cups. If Oriana has made a full switch to Protoss, or if this is just like a one-time thing. Definitely something worth keeping our eye on.
Yeah. Seems to be a bit of a trend so far this year.
Yeah,
And ever since Clem showed off as Protoss, we've had Oliveira play Protoss before his retirement, and then we had Maru in Bellum Zagora qualifiers. Now Oriana? Worrying trend, I would say.
Oriana, Akedon also played Protoss in HSL. That's also, that's true, another one. And of course, they have all the off racing happening in the All Things Protoss Team League as well. But that doesn't
count.
That's just, that
one doesn't count. That's Gemini,
they're all gooners.
So.
They're all. As that leads us into the Chicken King Grand Cup number 7. We were the official English casters for this event. This is a return to form here to find out who is the biggest chicken of all the players. It was an 8-player invitational. We had Creator, Lemon, Zaun, Byan, Gumiho, Percival, Ryung, and Dark.
Yeah, once again, as you were mentioning, Dark doesn't play in too much, doesn't play in weekly cups, but he will play in invitationals, and in this case, win invitationals as well, as he comes in, beats Percival, beats Gumiho, and then beats Zaun in those grand finals. Actually, clean sweep against Gumiho, and then 4-2ing Zaun. That's pretty impressive here for Dark.
That was very impressive, considering we just saw Clem have a more dominant showing versus Dark. I mean, it is Clem, to be fair, but like still, Dark is not as active as he used to be. Expectations weren't very high here for Dark. I was definitely leaning towards Zaun and Gumiho, but no, Dark, he popped off. He had a very, very impressive showing that he still got it. He's still in form.
So obviously he has that goatee.
Exactly. Do you think the military are going to force him to shave it? Is that...
Probably. I don't know how it works in Korea.
I
know here you need to have a religious exemption if you want to keep facial hair.
There you go.
Well, you need to fill in paperwork and be like, I can't shave because
Because you believe in Dark.
Yeah. We're all darks.
Exactly. So congratulations to Dark for winning the entire tournament. That leads us into our next chicken event. That leads us into the chicken.
I was gonna say Dark. He doesn't have churches. He has his dungeon. You pray the Dark's dungeon.
You go. Yeah, you go to the dungeon. That's where you pray. You pray that Dark lets you out.
He doesn't have temples. He doesn't have churches. He got his dungeon.
Exactly. It's too real. As that leads us into the Chicken King Team League qualifiers. Yep. Finally, we have wrapped up the qualifiers. We have wrapped up the final rounds.
We have, and I gotta tell you, Light, utterly gutted that we have no Skitty make it to the main event. All 4 Super Kitty teams that get eliminated before the end of the qualifiers.
Not super enough. Maybe this is a sign that they should consolidate into one team. maybe it's a little bit of a sign. I don't know, Papi. I don't know. It's crazy. Regardless, GG well played. EC does take down Super Kitty 2, 4-2.
Whereas Rookie Warpgate takes down Protoss Best 4-2 as well. Which I guess no surprise. I think these were both teams that we were predicting or that we did see as being at the stronger end of these teams in the qualifiers. So not a real surprise. Not a surprise, but still a disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to have seen us at least one Super Kitty in the next round. Bearing in mind that like Silky's on Team Super Kitty, like Silky's.
Well, he's on the main team, which actually didn't do as well as as Skitty too. So
yeah, Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But regardless, congratulations to PCEC, Rookie Warpgates, at Toho Project, and Elpis Esports team, as now we have our confirmed lineups for the main season of the Chicken King Team League.
Indeed, we do. If we click over to what it is, we have our 2, 4, 6, 8 teams. Toho Project, Hist, Little Fairy, PCEC, Rookie Warpgate, Starlight Twinkle, Team IW, and Elpis Esport Team. That's esport, not singular.
It's not confusing at all. Yeah, true. So yeah, we have our 8 teams. Again, we're going to be getting into the group stage, and we're going to be getting into the regular rounds in the future weeks on the podcast. So we'll keep you guys updated as to the progression of this tournament. Predictions coming into this. I mean, still a little bit early to tell, and we're still, I think, wrapping up rosters. Mm-hmm.
I think on paper, Starlight Twinkle is probably looking to be the favorite, but we do know that they had a bit of a roster switch, so who knows? It's a lot more up for grabs now compared to previously.
Lock one in. Who you going for?
Okay,
who's
so
your team?
Skitty. Hist, I remember looking pretty strong. They got Cloudy, and they got Kingslayer, who really impressed us. Little Fairy, they got a decent team in there.
Yeah. We got PCC with Mixu. We got of course Little Fairy with Shameless. We got Rookie Warpgates with Pioneer. Comes off as a more favored player. We have Starlight Twinkle with, of course, Jolly with Loves, Triple H, Jingming, and Young Zest. We got Toho Project with Daydreamer. We got Team IW with no player that I recognize as notable. But yeah, who you feeling? Who you feeling, Yaku?
I'm going for Mixu.
Oh, you're going for PCC?
I go for PCC. Yeah,
a
lot of a lot of the team is a little bit less notable compared to some of the other teams. So they do have Mixu as their heavy hitter. But apart from that, a lot of the other players are a little bit more up and coming, a little bit less well known. But I believe very strongly, not just in Mixu's ability to win his matches, but also in his ability to inspire his teammates to win their matches.
Okay. I see. Understandable. I'm torn. There are some big teams here. Like part of me is leaning towards Starlight Twinkle. Part of me, but I think I'm gonna have to go for Elpis Esport team, because
Singular.
of because the singular esport team.
Yeah.
They with Lemon, with Mikey, Nanami, Oriana, and SCV looks very strong, and then I just want to see Lemon pop off.
Yeah.
Give me some lemon. Give me some citrus.
Life,
Get you juice.
Yeah. Life gives you lemons.
Okay.
When life gives you lemons, you ain't getting scurvy.
Exactly. Hey, get that vitamin C. As that leads us into our next tournament, that leads us into an event, I believe organized by Toho Project. That'd make the most sense in my mind, at least. It is going to be the Toho Cup 2v2 Cup number 1.
Click on this link to the organizer. But yeah, 2v2 Cup, this time focus a lot more on kind of the Chinese region. We do have Lemon participating as the one Taiwanese player in here, but yeah, focus primarily on China.
Yeah, exactly. And we did see Oriana and his teammates make a deep run here, and they did take down Restarts and Lemon in the semifinals and win the entire event. Like, hold on, it's my time to shine. I translated Yaku coming at it. What do you go first, Yaku? What do you go first?
I want to say, Gao is the first character, but I don't remember what that translates to.
So I don't know why they're called that here. I'll be honest. That's Nanami Chiaki.
Yeah,
That's just Nanami. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
For whatever reason,
Jai and not Gao. It's Jai Fei, which translates to home fat.
it does. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. But that's Nanami. So I don't know why they put Nanami's old ID there, because apparently that is Nanami's older ID that he used to go by. It's an alternate ID, but yeah, that's Nanami Chiaki. Yeah. That's a killer team. Damn.
Damn. No off races this time, so.
Yeah, not this time. So, congratulations to Nanami and Oriana as they come out on top here in the initial 2v2 Cup. And now, whether or not there are multiple of these events yet to be confirmed, the event does say number 1, but we'll see. We'll see if we do host some future events or some more events in the future. We'll see if we bring it all together.
Yeah.
Have some more 2v2s.
The ideal.
That leads us into the Super Sevens at number 38. So that leads into a best of 7 show match between Hero and Beyond. Oh my god, we just saw their show match in. Yeah, we just saw their best of 9 show match in StarCraft Evolution, and now they pop off in SE2.
Yeah. Well, specifically, Hero pops up in SC2 as, once again, he beats Beyond. This time 4-0.
Jesus. Hero, calm down. See, this is just him being excited. You know, he just joined a new team. He's showing off with them.
He's just twisted his mind, yeah.
Exactly. So, congratulations to Hero. Very strong showing here at a Hero, which is, again, to be expected. Hero, he is one of the best players in the world right now. He is arguably the best Protoss, alongside Max, of course, and yeah, Hero, he is a terrifying player to go up against. So, best of luck. Oh yeah, I mean, Beyond, he did struggle here, but Beyond, I'm sure he will take from this, he will learn from this, and we'll be seeing more of Beyond in the future as he's one of the more active players in the online tournament scene. Speaking of seeing more Beyond, here we go. We have our next setup here. We have the Basilisk Big Brain Bounce number 93.
Yeah, and as always, we try to figure out a theme, but this time, it's a lot easier for us. This was the Zerg edition.
This is the Zerg edition. This is the Smoge edition. Because Zerg's lost every single one.
Zerg lost it, everyone, even to ZVZ.
Yeah. This is... oh, no.
Oof.
This is Rotterdam. Yeah, this is Rotterdam. He wanted to give back to the Zergs. He was like, you know what? Let me give the Zergs a bone, okay? Let me give them a chance to make some money, and they all lose.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's like, let's give him a bone, and then Solar got involved, and then all of a sudden all the non-Zergs were like, all right, we have to punish them. The Zerg players, they think they can win something? Nah, they win nothing.
Oh, no. So we do have our lineups here. We have Ledlix. Ledlix takes down J 3-2. Nicely done there by Ledlix. To go all the way to the ace match, did go the distance. So shout out to J, of course, for pulling that off. That leads us into Starkiller versus Egg. Starkiller, of course, he has long since been retired, but he does show up every. Yeah, he does show up from time to time, so great to see Starkiller return. Once again, went to the ace match against Eggs. Eggs does take the win here, 3-2 over Starkiller, went all the way to the ace match. Once again, 2 ace matches back to back. That leads us into Solar versus Trigger.
Who did Eggs beat?
Starkiller.
You mean... I can't do my voice that high. Never. I was gonna go Starkiller! But I can't get my voice that high. I remember Seal made an intro for Starkiller. That was something like that.
Yeah. He did like a power chord intro for him.
Yeah.
Like a rock star. Hey now.
Why hasn't that been an intro song for somebody yet?
Yeah, I know. It should be. But with that, Solar, he does. It's okay. Solar he does go down to Trigger 1-3, so big win there for Trigger. Very, very impressive play there from our Canadian Protoss player. That leads us into the main event. Somehow, some way, Roddy, he dragged Raynor out of the rift. He fished him out, Bobby. Oh my god.
He saved his son. At least temporarily.
Exactly. Temporarily, he got him out of League of Legends into SC2 just in time to lose his best of 5. But hey, went to the ace match.
You know how he got him out? He used portals.
True. Yeah. There you go. They did use portals, and they managed to trap Rainer in a room with SC2, so he was forced to play. And again, he had a back and forth. He had an intense series here. Björn was having a hard time against Hero this week when it came to all the show matches, but here he finds a little more success and does take down Rainer.
Yeah. See, that's what it took, right? It took him losing the Protoss to win against Zerg.
There you go. There you go. That somehow adds up. And with that, congratulations to Björn, Eggs, Lelix, and Trigger for claiming their matches. And a shout out to Roddy for inviting a bunch of Zerg players to have them involved in some way.
Yeah. A shout out to Roddy for finding this many Zerg players. I didn't realize that there were this many still around, you know?
I mean, Starkiller is retired, so he's...
Well...
Eggs is sort of retired as well, so they
well...
Yeah, he put in the work. He got him.
Yeah.
In the end.
This is more Zerg players than I think we've seen in any Open Cup in the last couple of months.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's crazy. So really well done. That leads us into our OSC events. That leads us into the OSC Rising Star number 14, an event that has been running all year, and we have some updates in the upper brackets. Let's go.
Yes, and do you see what I see, Light? We have our upper bracket finalists.
The drama. We got the drama kicking off here. We have Nunavik taking down Percival. We had Eva taking down... I think we already covered the upper bracket quarterfinals matches.
The quarterfinals we covered. The semifinals was what was up in the air.
Yeah, Jumi takes down Nunavik. Eva takes down Night Phoenix. And up next in the upper bracket quarterfinals or upper bracket finals, we have Jumi and Eva looking to face off. We have the grudge match. We have the drama match. Oh my god.
You can't keep them apart for too long.
No, you cannot.
They've avoided each other in a lot of these other tournaments so far in 2025, but here, finally, Destiny.
Wait, hold on. So is this like season 3 of our K-drama, where they have already split, you know, they went to like different schools, different professions, and then there's like a contest, and they meet at the contest, and they have to play against each other.
You know what this is? This is the later season of our K-drama where we're desperate for ratings, so we bring back the two fan favorites.
Well, yeah, we bring back the love story because you know what this is?
Exactly.
This is return to the status quo. This is the return of Emi
Season 1.
or Jiba, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes, the return of Jiba. Oh my god, the return of the pairing of Iba and Jumi. This is how they make up. This is how they make up.
Yeah. Well, they were they were lovers to enemies, and now it's the opposite.
Yes, exactly. They're gonna interact. They're gonna be like, why were we fighting to begin with? Why were we even? You know, this is great. It's beautiful. There you go. And now they're gonna play in the next Thermal 2v2 tournament.
Yeah. And then the one after that, they're not gonna.
No.
And when they 2v2 again, then I'm like, oh, this was why.
Yes, exactly. Then the relationship is broken once again. But exciting series, to be honest. Jumi versus Iba. I look forward to it. I also just noticed as well.
You meant the game series between them. When you said exciting series, I thought you meant our K-drama. All right.
No, it's trash. It's trash.
It is very trash.
You'd like it, Yaku. You'd like it.
I would love it. This is very CW.
God damn it.
I just want to say, this reminds me that we still have to watch that Ares series.
We
do. Ares, former clan member, he acted in a Singapore drama once, a couple of years back. My sister watched that. Apparently, Apparently, it was pretty good, for what she said.
There you go. I was also going to say that when you joked about the lack of Zerg players, I just realized here that Iba is the only Zerg player in the tournaments.
Well,
and I say that Iba is not even Zerg, he's like half
Protoss. Like a half Zerg, yeah. He's like half Zerg, half Protoss, you know?
No. God damn it, Iba.
A hybrid then.
No, because a hybrid is like both of them combined. Eba is like both of them neither.
As that leads us into the OC King of the Hill Weekly number 206.
I just realized I don't know what I just said.
It's fine.
Eba is both of them neither. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. But that leads us into our next Best of One King of the Hill format here.
Oh my god.
Where we have seen Bjorn pop off time and time again, but this time, never mind. Bjorn gets the first win in the first match, but Mana pops off. He comes out of left field and he knocks Bjorn out early on.
Yeah, knocks Bjorn out in the second round and keeps that win streak going, but he was also the only player who had a win streak this week. As we actually have a lot of players. After Christiana beat Mana, he went on to beat Nicoract, but then lost to Percival, who then lost to Trigger, and who then went on to beat Jumi, but then he lost to GG Machine, who went on to beat Hamono, before losing to Moja, who went on to beat Shameless, before losing to Mindel VK, so which is why if you look at the prize pool distribution, you got Mana in first place, and then you have 5 players in second place. It's a 5-way tie for second after Mana. Insane.
Yeah, just a lot of back and forth here between so many players. Some crazy upsets, I would say, as well. Right, it's like Mana defeating Bjorn, Mana going for his own tear. To see GG Machine take down Trigger. That's a big win there for GG Machine. Very unexpected, to be honest. So yeah, some crazy back and forths going on and very impressive stuff. I mean, again, it's best of ones. Best of one format is unique in its own way, and it's a little bit more tricky as a result, but congratulations. Shout out to all the players, all the champions, all the winners, all the kings, Pappy.
Yeah, so many kings. But only one Poland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mana, the king of them all. That does lead us into our next tournament. That leads us into the International Tussle number 31. This is our bi-weekly open tournament. So we had a lot of signups. We had a lot of competition here facing off. We did have our regulars showing up once again. Shin coming in from the upper bracket. We had Bjorn coming in from the lower bracket. And they did face off in those finals.
TBZ finals. Rarity nowadays.
Yeah, really well done there. Really solid performance here by Shin and Bjorn. Again, Shin now reinvigorated with his new team. True.
Yeah.
Now has his new team that he's repping.
Now, yeah. Which I gotta say, we forgot to mention this when we went over the roster changes. Looks like they have a new jersey, which it looks a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna lie. The first one, which was just like puke green.
Yeah. The first one left much to be desired, but they've since hired an artist. They've got a new jersey. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing Shin in that jersey at an offline event. Meanwhile, we do have Bjorn. He does come out on top here. Bjorn, he was able to take down Rainer in the big brain bouts, and here able to win and become this week's Turtle Tussle.
Bjorn this week, I don't know what it is. Weak against Protoss, but strong against Zerg. I say weak against Protoss. He did beat Rebellion and Geralt to get to the finals, but yeah.
Yeah. Solid performance here by Bjorn. Congratulations. Shout out to Jimmy for keeping up and for staying up late into the night. Likewise, Garrett as well. The end was that Korea on Korea finals. That leads us into the Sparkling Tuna Cup, the Tuna Cup number 88. We did feature once again Bjorn, but this time he does meet his match early on. We had some crazy results, by the way, because I'll be honest, coming into this, I was leaning towards maybe Cure versus Bjorn or Cure versus Trigger, but no, even Cure forced Christiana, which was a crazy result.
Absolutely insane. Yeah, Christiana also beating Trigger on top of that. Insane run here from Christiana.
He went through the gauntlet, by the way. He took down Trigger, Cure, Geralt, and Oreo, by the way. Yeah, Oreo playing for the first time in years.
Yeah, Oreo making a little bit of a re-debut here. You love to see it. Did get Christiana as his first round opponent, which is unfortunate, but that's just how the seeding works.
Yeah. Cristiano, he was on fire this week. He won the entire tournament. As you mentioned, a big win there. Geralt is often one that does go toe-to-toe with Cristiano. He's often one that can threaten him. Cure, I would say, coming in as a favorite player, maybe even to win the entire tournament. Cristiano, he had a very strong showing against Cure. And again, we had that PvP in the finals as well. So congratulations to Cristiano. And I mean, you kind of did mention it, right? Where Bjorn was struggling a little bit more against Protoss. I mean, here, Trigger, he does shut him down. Big win there for Trigger. Trigger also popping off this week. Not just beating Bjorn here, but also, if you remember, Trigger, he also beat Solar in the Big Green Bouts.
He did.
Yeah, so impressive play. There's congratulations to Cristiano for his win, here of the Tuna Cup. Once again, as he still maintains himself as the player with the most wins in the history of Twilight Tuna Cup. That leads us into the War TV Monday the next day. That leads us into our next big open tournament, where we had Hero going against Clem in the finals.
Yeah, we actually had TVP for the final 3 matches that we had here, both semifinals and the grand finals as well.
Just like the last tournament.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the finals was
no,
I guess the finals was a
PvP.
Yeah. True. But yeah, Clem, he took down Hearthstone, Classic, Max Pax, and Hero in the finals to go all the way to the ace match. Hero and Clem, they went back and forth. Very intense series between the two of them. In the end, Clem did take the win. But regardless, Hero did put up a big fight here, taking down some big Korean names in the process, Bjorn and Cure.
Yeah. 2 big Korean Terror players. Those have been Goblin in the first round. That's a match that I would have to... that I definitely want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness of Hero matching up against the craziness of Goblin.
Yeah, Goblin able to take a map. Shout to Mana. Mana also took a map off of Cure. Like, there was definitely some good showings there from some of the other competitors, 100%. But in the end, Clem does take the win. That leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies. That was later on that evening, where it looks like Hero got his revenge. We had our regulars, Clem, Hero, Max Pax, Solar as well. We have a key amount of players that do stay Cure, Bjorn, a key number, a lot of players that do stay up and play in all 3 tournaments, and this time Hero takes down Clem in the upper bracket finals.
Yeah, degenerating a little bit, but paying off for him in this case, beating Clem in the upper bracket and then beating Max Pax in the grand finals, or in the grand finals reset match, which, was all he needed to win here, as he's coming from the upper bracket.
Yeah, so Hero, he defeats
twice. Look at it.
He defeats Max Pax twice. He defeats Clem once as well. He gets his revenge, so big win there for Hero, just popping off. Max Pax did actually knock Clem out of the tournament in that lower bracket, so he denied any kind of rematch once again. So I'm sure Hero, he was content about that. But yeah, shout out to Max Pax, because it's been a while since I've seen Max Pax in the finals of Monday Night Weekly, so he did well for himself making it to the finals, but did go down to Hero.
Yeah. GG, but did manage to get his revenge just a couple of hours later in the Pegasaur Monday 27. Max Pax beats Hero in the semifinals of that, faces Clem in the grand finals. Once again, bring him all the way to the ace match, but ultimately falling to Clem.
Yeah, exactly. So Max actually eventually got his revenge against Hero, did fall to Clem in the end. So Clem, he takes 2 wins. Clem winning the Monday Night Weekly and the Pegasaur Monday Weekly. Hero, he won the Clem won the War TV Monday Weekly and the Pegasaur Monday. Meanwhile, Hero, he won the Monday Night Weekly instead. So some big wins there for Clem. Shout out to Max for making it to the finals. Bearing in mind that these players, they stayed up all night. They stayed up all night to compete and to play in everything. So by the end, I'm sure they were very fatigued, but a strong showing from Clem nonetheless.
Yeah. Nicely done.
That leads us into the Rex April Madness. That leads us into our next big tournament here, as we do enter the group stage. Now, I believe last week we did go over Group A, and I think we may have
made
glossed
predictions for
over
the rest of the groups last week as well.
There we go. And I think coming into Group B, I think I went Clem and Shin. I think I had some faith in Shin. Shin barely did not make it out of Group B.
I remember rooting for Nice in Group B.
Okay. There you go.
That's all I remember. I believe in Group C, though, I did go for Bunny and Sound.
Yeah. True. I think I went Did I go? I think I went Kieran's down. Yeah, I think I went Kieran's down there. So, yeah, I mean, Bunny popped off. Bunny was looking very impressive in
Oh,
this
yeah.
tournament. I don't know if you were able to catch much of it, but Bunny versus Down was, I would say, maybe the highlight of the tournament. They were the winners match. Bunny took down Dark 2-0. Zound took down
Yeah.
Cure, and then we had Bunny versus Zound in the winners match in a best of 5.
Yeah, reverse sweep from what I'm seeing here.
Oh yeah, basically what happened is that game 1 and game 2 were long macro games. Zound, he was able to pop up in the mid to late game in like 4, 5, 6 base setup,
Right.
and then Bunny 2 base all in Zound 3 games in a row.
Hell yeah.
3 games in a row. Ultra Love, Killer Smile, and Sandworm didn't go for the same 2 base all in, different one each time, but I think one of them he pulled the boys, one of them he just committed with a proxy, another one he just sent it, like just different forms of aggression. But yeah, Bunny popped off. Found Zound's weakness.
You love to see it. Yeah. It's that mid game.
There you go. So yeah, Bunny did claim it in the end. Meanwhile, Zound does come out in second place, taking down Cure in that final match. And of course, we have Group D tomorrow.
Yeah. It's also the reason why we have podcasts on a Wednesday this week. It's because of Group D specifically.
True. Yeah. Exactly. We got to let the D play out.
Yeah.
So best of luck to Max, Beyond, Rogue, and Ryung. Of course, next week is going to be the playoff bracket, so we'll be able to go over the playoff bracket next week's podcast instead. We'll be all over that. And again, a shout out to Rex, of course, for hosting this event, for funding the event, and for allowing us to also cast in English as well. So much love to Rex as that leads us into the final event here to go over. That is the WarDTV Spring Championship, and this event has been going on all month. And we have just wrapped up the group stage, at least group stage 1, and we are soon to begin group stage 2.
Yeah, long tournament ahead of us. Or this was always going to be a long tournament, so best to have ourselves strapped in here. We can't go over some of this group, so well, I say something. We can't go over all of these groups. Group A, we have Classic, Mana, and Dark. Make it through over the 2 Terran players, Ryung and Nikorat. Group B, we have Zound, Rogue, and Creator, making it over Hero Marine and Gerald. Zound making it out first in Group B. That's very promising for the new Team Vitality player.
Yeah.
And in Group C, we have Cure, Trigger, and Showtime, making it out over Shin and Young Yakov. And then finally, Group D, we've got Solar, Bunny, and Skillus, making it over Percival and Jumi.
Yeah, some big results coming in, as you mentioned. I want to say that last time we did have predictions for these groups, because they still
what I predicted. I'm gonna be honest.
So good. But yeah, some big results coming in. As you mentioned, some notables is that Gabe didn't make it out of his group. Shin did not make it out of his group either. For the other groups, I want to say that for the most part, the favorite players did push through. But yeah, just really well played here to those in Group C to bring down Shin, and those in Group D to bring down Gabe. That leads us into Group Stage number 2, which we can actually sink our teeth into. I believe Group A is currently being played out. The rest of the groups are going to be played out throughout the rest of the week, which means by the time we get the next podcast, these groups will all be wrapped up.
Yeah. Then we can get into the playoffs a little bit.
All right, predictions, Piper. Predictions. Group A.
Yes.
Group A.
It's got to be Solar and Creator. Well, I say it's got to be Solar and Creator because Solar is in his redemption arc, but you got the 2 Mountain Boys in the same group, so
True.
Could be Creator and Bjorn. I think I'm still gonna go with Solar and Creator though. I think what's gonna happen? They're halfway up the mountain. Bjorn will sacrifice himself for Creator.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible here. I mean, I can definitely see that happening as well. Quickly double checking, it looks like these might just be. These are not round robin, okay? These are GSL formats.
GSL style,
yeah. Okay. Interesting. So GSL style format instead. Coming into this, so you're going for the Mountain Boys?
I'm going for Solar and Creator.
Okay.
I think Bjorn, as the mountain boy, will sacrifice himself halfway up the mountain.
Okay. I can see him doing that for his boy. I can see him doing that for sure.
It'll be like, we're out of food. Eat my corpse.
I'm gonna go Solar. No, I'm gonna go. God, I want to say Beyond Creator.
Mountain Boys, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Now I'm gonna look it in. Beyond Creator. Beyond Creator.
All
Make
right,
that
all
Group
right,
A.
all right. That's the other way this goes. All right, all right, all right.
Group B, we have Hero, Classic, Bunny, and Skillus. 3 Protoss, 1 Terran. That's some hefty Protoss players as well. Yaku, who you feeling? Who you feeling out of
First
Group
off, I want to say it doesn't matter if they make it through. I want to see Classic and Hero fight.
B? Okay. Fair enough. True. Yeah.
And you know
I have
what? I want to see them duke it out outside. So I'm gonna go with Bunny and Skillus. I want
What
to
does
see
that
them
mean?
duke it out in the parking lot. So.
Oh no. Take it outside. Let's go. The drama. World Star. That's God. Oh god. So I'm a lean to, this is a hard one to call. I'm a fan of so many of these players. Like I want to see Bunny do well. I want to see Skillus do well. I want to see Hero do well. I want to see Classic do well. I'm a lean into
I know in your head you just want to see Bunny versus Hero over
I
and
do.
over again.
Yes, 100%. I
You
think
have that 2022 Atlanta finals in your head. And you
I'm
just want
pretty
to see a
sure
repeat of that.
I'm pretty sure I've said that line before. Where I'm pretty sure I've said that I want to see Hero versus Bunny again.
You
So
said that
you're not
line
wrong.
ever since the finals of DreamHack Atlanta. You were like, that was one of the best TVPs I've ever witnessed. I really got to see Bunny versus Hero more often.
Yo, Hero versus Clem ain't got nothing to Hero versus Bunny. True. I agree. So I'm gonna lean towards Hero.
I also agree. That was a very exciting finals that went all the way to the
It was
ace
good.
match. It was
It
great.
was
It was
good.
yeah. It was very dynamic. A lot of like mid-series strategy adjustments and tactic adjustments as well. A lot of the two of them adapting to each other.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know what? You sold me on it. Hero Bunny out of Group B. Gibbs.
All right.
That leads us into Group C. Group C is gonna be Cure, Max Pax, Dark, and Trigger.
So Trigger has impressed me a lot this past week, and I'm always rooting for Trigger, so I think I'm going to lock in Trigger as my first pick. Second choice, I kind of want it to be Dark, not gonna lie. I'm not even sure if he'll be available for the later stages of this tournament, but that's also kind of why I want it to be Dark.
There you go. True. I'm gonna look in the double Protoss. I'm gonna look in Max Pax and Trigger.
Right.
I agree that Trigger's been looking really good recently. Max Pax is still looking like Max Pax as well. I mean, it's a tough group. I might even say this might be the group of death. Like Cure and like Dark, like he's been looking impressive at times as well, and Cure is definitely in form. So I do think that this is maybe the hardest one to call. Potentially, as that leads us into Group D. Group D has Zaun, Clem, Showtime, and Rogue.
Alright, so first of all, Zaun, he's on a new team, he's on the uptick. I gotta go for Zaun as one of the players make it through. And first player through? Probably not, but I gotta give him the second player going through. First player going through. The obvious answer to that is Clem. Clem is not going to be playing as Protoss in this group either. I really, really do want to root for Showtime, though. I feel like Showtime is just such a big name that is still teamless. So I want Showtime to have a really good result, and I want him to, really show some of the teams there that, hey, it's worth picking him up, at least for UWC. So Brain is saying Zaun Clem. Heart is saying Zaun Showtime.
Ooh, okay. I see that. I'm probably gonna have to agree there. Like Zaun and Clem, that feels like the go-to pick for the two players to make it out of the group. But I can see a world where either Showtime or Rogue can upset here. I feel like Clem is probably a sure thing, but there's a chance that maybe Showtime can bring that down, or even Rogue can bring down Zaun. So I can definitely see some variance in Group D, similarly to Group C as well. Like I do feel like those two groups are it's very, very close and very hard to call.
Yeah, I feel like in Group D, Clem is probably the clear favorite, but with the other three, there's a lot more variance. Whereas Group C, it's like, well, I guess in Group C, Max Pax. Well, I say Max Pax historically would be the clear favorite, but in recent weeks, Trigger's been looking good, Cure's been looking good, Duck's been looking pretty good. So Max Pax still the favorite of Group C, but it's a little bit shakier.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I would definitely agree with that as well. Would agree. Regardless, best of luck to all the competitors, best of luck to all the players as well as they face off in the Wardy TV Spring Championship. Again, Group A is currently live and currently ongoing, so do support Wardy in that event, in that tournament. As that will wrap up our events for the week. We have made it. Again, a lot of tournaments to catch up on, a lot of events did occur as always. If you want to take part in these tournaments, then signups for the sign up list on the Wikipedia.
Had a lot to go over. I'm not gonna lie, Light. I didn't read the SC Evo patch notes beforehand. I didn't. I assumed it was just gonna be a short thing, but no, that was significant.
Yeah,
but you know what? We made it through. We made it through.
We survived. We survived. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Yeah,
a little bit shorter actually this week. 3 hours only.
Only three. Only three. Exactly. We won't be able to raid Lorimbo.
Yeah.
Sad. But regardless, again, sign up lists are available. You can sign up for, we have so many events available here. We have the Kung Fu Cup, which did just conclude as it is currently ongoing. We have the KSL, MSO, Sunrise Cup, the Platinum StarCraft 2 League April, which we didn't even get to discuss too much. But again, we brought it up last week, how there is a league that's being run by the Platinum Heroes, I believe now being casted by Ward, it's by Rotterdam. We have Legacy Weekly Japan, the regular Open Cups, the Wardy TV Mondays, PiG Monday, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and more. So plenty of content on the horizon. Do check it out. Again, the sign-ups page is the place to be if you want to take part.
Yeah. Open to, well, I would say open to everyone. A lot of these tournaments are open to everyone, but some of them are open to anyone in the region or anyone in the world in a specific MMR range. So yeah, just take a, open your eyes.
Read.
Use your eyes. Read the rules. All right.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that person that signs up for SDO that's clearly GM.
Yeah.
Huh?
Björn.
Huh? Björn? What's going on? Just signing up for all Duckling tournaments.
Yeah, you're shotgunning everything, huh? Huh? You got playing these. Huh?
I will give
on challenge. I
will give a shout out to Björn though. He is the first pretty much the first to sign up. Sometimes the second to sign up for our tournaments. I think he signed us up before they are announced.
Yeah, maybe we should just calm down on the SDO signups though, huh? Maybe.
Huh?
God damn it.
Or don't.
He's never done that before, by the way. I just saying, Björn. But with that, you can also support us on Patreon. Make sure our Patreon in the chat, and you'll get a link to our Patreon page. We do, of course, all of our events are funded via Patreon, so you can support those events if you wish. You can support Duckling Open, Macedon Open, and Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. It is all done via Patreon. So thank you so much to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for all the support. We do appreciate it. And again, our next goal is to boost the prize pool for Sparkling Tuna Cup even further. So you can help support us. You can help support the scene, the StarCraft, the players.
And you know what? We get high enough in our Patreon goal. If we get several tens of thousands, we'll be able to sign Gumiho.
There you go. Yeah, Gumiho. Soon TM. 2030.
You know what? If you want Cranky Gumiho, that's on you. You want Cranky Gumiho?
So why did we pick Gumiho specifically?
Patreon. Because Milk wanted Gumiho.
Because
Milk in the chat said, I want Gumiho, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, with that, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you appreciate it. Again, we had so much to go over, so much news here in StarCraft, and likewise, we'll be here next week for some more podcast action.
Yeah. See you then.
Until then, Yaku, where can people find more of you? Crab Champions?
Find me in bed. Where I'm going as soon as we go up. Oh, that's not true. I'll shower first. I'll shower and brush my teeth first.
Let's go.
Find me no longer being a DGen for at least a couple days. Here's hoping I managed to maintain that. Yeah, I'm going to be a bit busier this month, so no guarantee of when a stream is going to happen, but maybe next month I'll see if I can we'll see about finally putting together the Protoss campaign for StarCraft 1. That's going to be it.
Ooh.
Twitch.tv at Yakuzaku1. I'll announce when it goes live on either twitter.com at Yakuzaku or more likely Blue Sky, like yakuzaku.bisky.social. Or if I forget in both, ! Discord in the chat. That's where the CranKy Ducklings Discord server is at. That's where everyone's at. That's where the bot that announces when one of us goes live is at.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Likewise.
you can find me around.
Yeah, likewise, you can follow me at @_VIP. I do stream throughout the week whenever I have some time. I was able to stream earlier today, and I might be able to stream later on in the week as well on Friday. So if you want, you can tune into my content there. Otherwise, the CranKy Ducklings is the place to be. We do stream here on a daily basis. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft on the channel. Our next stream is going to be later on tomorrow. It's going to be the Little League Cup 36 Day 1. That is going to be at 9 a.m. KST. That's going to be in around 10 or 9.5 hours time. So that is going to be our next stream on the channel. We have the Rex April Madness tomorrow evening, and of course we have some more Little League Cup on Friday as well. So plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft, plenty here on the channel. Even too much, arguably. It's arguably too much content on the channel, but you know what? It's fine.
Well, only
We
too much
persevere.
according to Twitch and the Twitch servers, who want us to get rid of a lot of our bots.
True. Smirch. God damn it. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We're going to be seeing you guys next time for some more PondCast action. Again, our next cast is going to be in around 10 hours time. So we'll see you then for some Little League Cup.
Yeah. Till then,
hasta luego.
hasta la vista, bella.